Semifinals game, Terra Queens versus Gaimin Gladiators. Go ahead and check out the link also. Earlier we saw value your feedback. Tell us what you think can be improved for MWI.
You could just scan the QR code right now, scanning onto the map. Heading on to game number 1. Very strong contenders being marked as the dark horse for MWI this year. And so far, both of them already did an upset onto the running favorites, right? The powerhouses here on MWI. And looking at the draft itself, there were certain things, in my opinion, that Terra Queens just got the gist of it, like banning out certain heroes versus Gaimin Gladiators, and mostly looking at the early good pickup of the Hilda's full.
Yeah, interesting start to the game already for Gaimin Gladiators. Terra Queens, I thought in the draft in the first phase, yes, as the panel pointed out, that was already a great way to shut down the landslide and the Granger. That obviously I think was expected. When you're up against Gaimin, I think now you will expect the Granger and the landslide, or at least just assassins on Nicolette plus the Granger. But Gaimin cleaned that up really well into the second phase, right? I mean, right now Nicolette doing a lot of damage over the Cool. Arya's coming in. This should be first blood, and it is too aggressive from Cool. Wow. Look at the fans in the building for GG.
For Nicolette also, she just doesn't want to have the kind of a negative deduction onto her 100% win rate, by the way, for her Lancelot. And so far, for Gaimin Gladiators, they just want to punish everyone that's overstaying their welcome. And same goes for Terra Queens right now. A bit of a question there for Cool, but we do know that that is some of the factors that you would want to pick up on Hilda this early, right? To check on, to somehow navigate through the bushes on where Nicolette might be hiding or might be going in. Speaking of going in, there's Cool yet again being punished here by Arya with a falling Starman also.
Rui walking up, able to get the stacks already. No stun from Lang, but Arya, is able to run away for a bit as the electrifying beats gets her down. Rui able to escape now, so Yori has the Crimson Beacon, gets lifted up by Lantern Flare. Will be able to get the Crimson Beacon now, and a flicker out the Lang follows through with her own flicker to get the last shot in. Panda kiting away, rotating to the fight as the Aerithal stays bottom lane. Ashley picking up the kill now as Nicolette jumps into the puncture and gets caught by the Lantern Flare. Who's right there, swinging that War Axe. Rui picks up the turtle, and it's a win for Terra Queens.
That is a nice risk here for Terra Queens, although it might look a bit messy, but that's the thing. Messy is somewhat what you would want versus Gaimin Gladiators, more on the systematic approach here. But looking at our instant replay, just Lunalyn throwing all those Lantern Flare Stone Snares stacking up. And even Sayori there was forced with the flicker just to try and disengage onto the fight. But the one thing is for sure here, Rui has most of the control on the map, has the mobility, and the moment Nicolette was down, that was just a free turtle for Terra.
Great start to the game here for Terra Queens again.
Okay.
The Gladiators are here in the arena. You guys can come over as well, watch. It's free ticket, free entry for you guys if you want to support Gaimin Gladiators or Terra Queens in the SNB arena.
But we could see a rise onto the supporters here for Gaimin Gladiators, right? Because of yesterday's matches, of course. But most of all, right now for Terra Queens, it's really important to somehow shut down the early game, knowing that you have the Hilda on your hands, and you also have Lunalyn with the Jushin. This is what exactly are they supposed to do, but Ashley, on the other hand, having a hard time.
Rui jumping in. Ashley has the glorious pathway, but Rui is a bit too lethal. Electrifying beats her determined. Sayori still holds on to the Crimson Beacon. Arya just walked into 4. And she will be punished. That's 5, actually. Nicolette looking for a trade.
That is dedication right there for Terra Queens. Just going on out of their way, just manipulating all of the members here from Gaimin Gladiators onto using their ultimates this early. 1v1 onto the jungle. Rui versus Nicolette there. Quite a hard impact there onto Nicolette, especially onto the first blood. But Terra Queens on the other hand, very relaxed stance, and we're liking how things are going onto the way that they control the wave, and as well as trying to predict where Arya and Ashley might go. And right now, they're being showed out, they're being denied, even onto the vision here for the second turtle of the round. 4 members in, there's going to be a Lantern Flare going in. Sayori with the Terrifies.
Little Lin, cocked on, Road's already there. Rui still wins out the retreat battle. Nicolette running away. Arya trying to get away, but gets caught by Rui, who's on a killing spree. Sayori in the mid lane trying to clear out the waves as Hlang keeps on pushing in. Good Terrify down. Nicolette Has to be careful. Has a minute for the puncture, but she actually missed it earlier. Ku dives in under turret, gets the kill. Rui gets splat for the damage, but is still able to escape. GG. No damage to execute the low members of Terra Queens.
And this is why the panel was also talking about getting somewhat of a burst like a Farsa on the mid lane, right? You would want a Sayori to be explosive as much as possible. Yes, Valentina has some of that damage as well, but mostly she also relies on who to target when she uses her ultimate onto copying. And looking at the goal difference right now, some of it is going onto the hands of Terra Queens, equally distributed, but let's take a closer look onto mid to mid, and even the gold to gold actually already has a huge lead, and another turret destroyed here for Sakoshi's lane.
This is looking bad for Gaimin Gladiators. Amazing
It is.
for Terra Queens. 3,400 gold lead already with so much damage output early on. GG have not respected that damage output, that early potential of Terra Queens, and they're really getting punished for it. Blank? Interesting Bravest Fighter there. I guess there's a reason it's called Bravest Fighter, Nicolette.
You just have to be brave. You just have to take the leap of faith. But Rui, on the other hand, versus Arya and Nicolette, might be somewhat of a bait poke around here onto the jungle, but that is the Glorious Pathway uses early here for Ashley. Things are not looking good here for Gaimin Gladiators. We could definitely feel them somewhat being peeled off little by little here by Terra Queens, being hunted down constantly, right? And for Panda 1, she also is having a hard time just farming up, even getting those stacks. But Sakoshi, on the other hand, doesn't have any problem with that at all.
Oh man, we're seeing the glimpses of the Arya we saw on the group stage early on at least. Walking up a bit too aggressively, maybe a bit too overconfident on the Esmeralda.
Right.
She gets herself punished. Lunalin gets away. Helan goes with Bravest Fighter, gets out too. It's just a distraction. It's done over as Ku looks for the flank. Now goes on to Panda, who's going to be isolated from the team. Ashley walks back, goes to the peel now. Ku is there. That's going to be the electrifying beast. Not you just yet. Great flicker from Panda as Arya tries her best to get the falling star moon down.
This is a very good juggle for Terra Queens. They just wasted a lot of time here for Gaimin Gladiators. You have Nicolette targeting Sakoshi. Managed to still back away. Ku constantly harassing her. Prowess of Hilda, of course, but for Terra Queens, they're just playing it right, playing their cards right, limiting overstaying their welcome here onto Gaimin Gladiators.
The way Arya is playing, I really would enjoy seeing her on a Phobius, you know? Like, it's all about that all-in, it's all about diverting attention from the rest of the team, but the Esmeralda just feels way too squishy in this game against the composition for the plan in hand. It seems like the plan is like, you just want to fight it out, right?
And of course, even with the ultimate, it's just not hitting yet, You know you have to somewhat kind of have that accuracy, and it's not happening yet here for Arya. And I do agree with the Phobius. It wasn't banned out earlier into the draft, but let's see how will this play out for Gaimin Gladiators, because right now they're being kept at bay, and Terra Queens just goes and shows up each of the lanes right now. Another turret destroyed, by the way, onto the bottom side, which means that Terra Queens will just extend the territory here. And that constant punish onto the mid lane yet again!
Crimson Beacon to run away, but Arya's already down. Nicolette forced a puncture defensively. Palang's going for some shots, but Panda right there. Ashley actually holding her own, getting the kill onto Lunalin. All alone as Panda walks up, but still doesn't deal enough damage to take the frontliners down. As Sakoshi continues to free farm in the side lane.
But still, there's the question. Arya still going on head on. Skip head on. Ashley will fall down. Nicolette onto tree.
Dodging all wildness. Dodging going for the stun as well. Baiting out some big resources. Nicolette makes the big moves now. Bravest Fighter already used up. Now with the stun as well. And the back by Sakoshi just dives into the back, but gets caught by Panda. Kiting it away. It'll still be a trade 1-for-1. But Nicolette will have to be careful here. Rui's walking up electrified beast. Nicolette gets the puncture out perfectly. Sayori walks up, gets terrified down. Ku will not take the last turret shot and will be able to get away.
Okay, that was a heavy sacrifice here, but Sakoshi still managed to finally get Panda 1, but on the middle lane. Ku and Arya is going for the shutdown here. So it'll be a ladder player.
Arya, crazy move, gets brought back and she capitalizes on it.
Okay. Cyclone Eye just to get away. Langrina hot on her heels, just chasing her down. It's going to be a long chase right now. Following up, Satoshi on her motorcycle, delivering final crossbow. But still, props to Arya, of course, by getting the double kill. Finally getting some of a glimpse of what they can actually do with their draft, right?
Satoshi ran her down, man. She basically said, yo, you got those dance moves, but what color is your Ducati?
Mine is red, right? I see red. And friend members here for Gaming Gladiators is just being taken down, torn down by Terror Queens. Looking at the low right now, being danced around. Might be a bait here for Terror Queens. Sayori going down!
Rui just wreaking havoc in the back, and Ashley falls as well. A big Sky Piercer stack, make it 2 for Luna Lin on the juice in as Nicolette is forced back. Arya, not too sure about this. Yeah, she will just go for the clear in the mid lane instead. Free neutral objective for the Terror Queens.
And even Luna's reaction was like, what? I did that? Like, looking at the insert replay right now, that was a huge play. Just catching Sayori off guard, plus Panda. That's all the hit list that you want to hit, right? And for Terror Queens, they just did whatever they could do just to zone them out, keep Nicolette at bay. Lord now marching onto the bottom side. Looking at the items, well, things are looking good, really good right now for Satoshi. Already have the Malefic gone. There's another additional headache here for Gaming Gladiators. And as we mentioned, a glowing one now for Luna Lin. And speaking of which, wait, Rui is down.
That might be a big mistake. Heavy crossbow. Ooh, the AoE. Almost catching Ashley with a hit on towards Sayori. It's an interesting move. Halang will just take a few turret shots. Now Nicolette jumps on and Thorn rolls as well with a Phantom Execution. Gets dove on now. Maku's gonna be isolated in front as Panda goes in for the shots and will be able to pick up another kill with a Sky Piercer. Satoshi running away. Arya looking for the chase now as Ashley goes for it. Sayori! Crimson Beacon! Terrifying! Panda looking for the shot as Satoshi goes in. But it's giving the Sky Piercer second can for Panda! A triple for Panda. Rose Gold Media bought in time, dodging away from the stun as Arya walks back up to provide the front line. Panda's a maniac, and Gaimin Gladiators are back in game 1.
And that's the thing, Gaming Gladiators is a very patient team, right? They already managed to do that in their previous games. And looking at the insert play, they just needed Sayori to go on to the front, even if it's at the cost of her life. As long as Panda remains untouched, as long as her Panda lands those kill shots, lands those bullets, that's a safe route to go here for Gaming Gladiators. Securing a Maniac, I could only imagine how much of an impact it could deliver. And you don't have to imagine. It happened in real time right now for Gaming Gladiators. And now, it's going to be a terrified crew. Just have to back away. But let's talk about the huge advantage. But before all of that, Gaming Gladiators just eyeing out members here from Terror Queens.
You can definitely see it, right? You know what I mean? Oh man, that was ridiculous. And it just goes to show you why Gaimin went for such a risky start to the draft. The first 2 picks was the Lancelot and Granger into a Hilda. See, no other team would do that, but they got Panda, who's a Granger savant. They've got Nicolette with a 100% win rate on that Lancelot. So far, we've seen a glimpse of that. Can they continue? Glorious pathway, getting him out. Ashley still has Revitalize as Rui jumps into the back, and Ashley will be taken down. Rui goes in for the electrifying beats. Now finds an execution. Nicolette looking for the assassination. Goes for the Thorn Rose. Lantern Flare, the Crimson Beacon brings her back, but Arya jumps back in, and it's going to be Panda with a monster kill. Looking for Luna Lin, kiting away. 1 for 1 XP for Rome.
But still, for Gaming Gladiators with that kill, that's another addition here for Panda. Even if we could see Terror Queens still has a somewhat of an advantage onto the net worth and even onto the kill score. But right now, you cannot say that it's one-sided, right? But right now for Gaming Gladiators, exactly on point. 64 stacks onto her Sky Piercer. Like, man, this is what you want. This is a dream. This is what you want if you want to somehow go for the comeback if you're the Granger. And as you've mentioned, she is a Granger specialist. Just eyeing out those targets. Ashley going in.
So Rui still wins it out there. Ashley going to be caught in electrifying beats now. Satoshi does damage over to Ashley, taking her down. Both frontliners out for Gaimin, and Terror Queens are back on track.
Sometimes Terror Queens are just waiting also until who to extend. They have the damage, they have the advantage. So it wouldn't be a problem if it is the tankiest hero frontlining for Gaming Gladiators, right? They just need to do it as fast as possible, because if they can't do that, then there's going to be Panda and even Nicolette just try to survive, trying to wiggle their way through the defense here for Terra Queens. Speaking of defense, Gaming Gladiators left to defend for their base right now. Looking at the in-game equipment as well, it's going to be a lock item build for both of our gold laners. Finishing up with the rose gold here for the Granger, but Panda!
One last shot, great peel from Luna, but she puts herself into the falling star moon. A kite back away, Panda's godlike, but Skoshi got that AoE. Nicolette jumping in with the potion, offensive execution over with a Thorn Rose, getting the shutdown, buying the rose gold. Sayori has Crimson Beacon, but she's gonna need it up against Rui. Dashing away, blinking away now. Rui going with the play, but a Terrify locks her down for Nicolette to find another. Ashley just clapping her hands, watching her teammate as Nicolette claims the kill. Pandas defends in the bottom lane.
A white out here for Gaming Gladiators. What a play here for Nicolette. That was a bloody bloodbath there, Mirko. Even at the cost of a mini heart attack onto defending their base, Gaming Gladiators just isn't the team to be scared of that easily. They took their risk and they know that that is something to take it. And for Nicolette also, what a great dash and a great move, making most of it off the bushes. And even for Panda, even before going down, she managed to take what, around 2 to 3 members, delivering the final blow. Then Nicolette just doing her thing with her Lancelot. And this is why you should respect her mechanical skills, right? You should respect her Lancelot. Man, wow.
I'm all in for the Nicolette glaze, but we gotta give props to Sayori too for enabling that. And it just shows you how much the Valentina can play in the game. I mean, at least in the team fights, right? You see that impact that terrifies the stolen Crimson Beacon that lets her blink so many times to evade from an easy kill. She literally had to bait, or sorry, Terra Queens had to use all their resources to get Sayori down.
Just so you guys know, we've mentioned that Sayori really is the type of a carry. Like, you could see it exuding on her aura. She has that charisma. And with using the Crimson Beacon, I do agree with you that she is one the most carries person up against right now if you're Terra Queens. Because she's wasting so much of your time. She's wasting so much of your energy.
Nicolette?
But Ashley falling down. Nicolette from the back. Targets Koshi.
Able to get the unstoppable there. Finding the assassination by Immortality as well. Ku pops into the crowd now. Nicolette able to get the Thorn Rose in time into the puncture. Back away for Panda to secure the kill. Rui sees an angle to end the game. The base is wide open. Rui's going over it. Panda with a flicker forward. Rui take it low. Gaimin Gladiators.
What is that? Like a triple kill, but at the same time, a very clutch move to save your base, to survive this round.
1 HP. Rui was a hit away from claiming game 1, but now it's Gaimin Gladiators who will get a free Lord. Panda, the mentality on these women. It's not over till it's over. They saw the base get targeted down by a late game Joy, but they did not waver. A flicker forward, shooting everything out to save the game. Welcome to MWI 2025.
That's a perfect example of never giving up until the very last drop of the HP of your crystal. Right now, for Gaming Gladiators, they're just doing it. They're just somehow keeping a cool head right now. If that was me, I would just shout, let go of my device, but for them, no. But on the other hand, Rui, okay, she will be able to just go ahead and go back, but on to the top lane, Terra Queens is having a hard time right now. But still, for Gaming Gladiators, totally outmaneuvering Terra Queens right there. Like, we see you, don't panic, just chill, we got this.
Play with the puncture, able to get the orange buff now. Rui's already used Electrifying Beast. They're going to capitalize on this. Rui has the immortality. Good stun onto 2. Sayori still in the back, getting the revitalize. Nicolette tries to jump onto Koshi. Now he's going to Lancer Flare over to Arya. Pops into the crowd. Can she get away in time now? She goes out. Nicolette doing a lot of damage. The AoE of the Thorn Rose to push TQ back.
And it's official. We finally reached next round, the facing inside the game, wherein it could be anyone's game. Like around the 18 minute or so, we can see Terra Queens has the advantage turret-wise. But look at that, 80 stacks right now where Panda Sky Piercer. This girl, you have to get someone to keep an eye or to totally lock her down. And 30, by the way, here for Lunalyn Sky Piercer. They have the damage, but what's happening is that there are certain moments that I feel like there are some jumps even for Langarina and Ku that should have been better if they just waited here for Lunalyn or even Rui, right? And same goes for Gaming Gladiators, but thankfully so, they're good at item swapping or buy and sell. And even Arya prevents some of those clashes, prevents some of those deadly pickups for Terra Queens. And for Gaming Gladiators right now, they've reached a point wherein Panda really is activated. She is online. And she is just unstoppable right now, throwing all those dead sonatas. Very heavy damage suffered there by Terra Queens.
Now it becomes a slow game once again. The gold lead completely gone for Terra Queens, now in the hands of Gaimin Gladiators. They look to control the neutral objective here. Bottom lane was already slow push. Nicolette now getting the mid prio as Arya spots Rui in the bush. Will be able to get some damage down on her. Glorious Pathway also used up. Big resources here for GG.
They just want to try and deny Terra Queen's vision. But yeah, that is a huge ultimate activated here by Ashley. But still could be somewhat of a risk that they want to take just so they could somewhat deny Terra Queens onto positioning, but still you cannot deny that Rui still has the mobility, that agility. Is going and jumping in with the Bravest Fighter Larina onto Sayori, onto mid lane.
Electrifying beats already used up. Rui able to get the kill onto Arya as Nicolette tries to go for the peel now onto Words. Halang, Panda with a double, now looking for the Rhapsody again. One last shot, Panda unable to swap out items. Rui capitalizes on an overextending Granger. And now it's 2 for 2.
That was what I was talking about. You just have to have someone hold on to Panda and Rui will just do the rest. Now it's up to Nicolette to try and disrupt them, try and delay things up here for Rui and Langrina to actually start out on the Lord. But they are not in the position right now without Sikoshi. I think this will be a very messy Lord dance if ever Terra Queens would like to force that. But Langrina up onto Ashley, and even for Gaming Gladiators, they also have to consider the fact that their minion wave isn't looking good right now. So Nicolette is also trying to leave some of the pressure onto the top lane before starting anything. But Rui is cutting onto Nicolette. There's going to be a chase. Ooh, Pathway force out from Ashley here.
Good backup. Wave at the bottom lane now better for Terra Queens. The goalies for GG, but everything else for Terra Queens. Tempo on the map. The lanes obviously slow pushing constantly towards Gaimin's base. I think they have a lot of damage down now. Blank jumps in with the Bravest Fighter. Oh, Arya bursts it down. That's a winner crown used up already. Sayori with the Crimson Beacon able to escape. A little Lid gets the kill on Arya as Rui walks up. Sayori gets the kill back on Rui. Ashley now next to the chopping block as Panda looks for the clear. Looks to peel. Or sorry, just looks to deal damage. Ashley with the Glorious Pathway able to escape from the Lancer Flares. Nicolette walks back up. Panda with Rhapsody kiting away. Lunalyn caught in the bad spot now as Panda gets dove on. Now Malang won't be able to get the stun on the Bravest Fighter. Nicolette with Thorn Rose. Now no puncture. And Panda runs away with a fadeaway shot from Sikoshi. Will get herself a triple kill to end game number 1.
And this might be it for Terra Queens, just waiting for the next wave of minions to finally join them onto ending the base, ending the crystal here for Terra Queens. And now they're this close, Miracle. And with that, Terra Queens will be getting the first game win on their semifinals against Gaming Gladiators.
And as expected, we expected for every game we're going to be seeing taunts from these ladies. Terra Queens starts the series off guns blazing.
They were just somewhat more on the directive of being aggressive, outmaneuvering Nicolette there and even Panda.
How do we even describe that game?
Yeah.
Like, was it's not a comeback for Terra Queens, but in the way it was. It was a win early to a comeback for GG to another comeback from Terra Queens.
It was a roller coaster for game number 1. That is just game number 1, like note. And I'm glad I'm not on the panel. Like, how do you break that up for game number 1? With that, right on cue, let's call on over Ranmar, Eterna, and Chantel to bring us the details for game 1.
Hey, we are good over here, Athena. Everything that we've set up in the pre-show, the analysis to lead into this game number 1, we saw everything. The importance of controlling the center of the map, the Granger for Panda, Sikoshi's mechanics, everything popped up. That was an insane way to start off our semifinals.
Again, for Gaimin Gladiators and Terra Queens, they know their power spikes. And this is a masterful usage, specifically for Nicolette. A lot of highlights for her. But at the same time, it's all about control for Terra Queens. One way or another, we thought that it was Gaimin Gladiators winning the game. There was an effort to actually finish the game by Rui. Then you have the defense. But then again, Terra Queens, they know the capacity of their heroes and eventually forcing Gaimin to somehow have that decline in their strength.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think when it comes down to pure mechanics and skill, both teams are on par. But I feel like in game number 1, what we saw and how Terra Queens were able to find their comeback, we can't consider that as a comeback, is their knowledge of the macro. I think there were a lot of moments where Gaimin Gladiators forgot the basics of housekeeping, which allowed opportunities for Rui, like you mentioned, on the Joy to go in for that final push into the base, despite it actually not going in favor of them. The potential and the fact that the opportunity was there, I think GG really needs to not forget on the side lane control. And unfortunately, in that final bout, obviously, it was all pressure on GG. Despite them being able to come back in terms of economy, the fact that they already lost that inhibitor turret in the bottom side of the map, with the Lord spawning in the top side of the map, it gave Terra Queens a little bit less pressure and more leeway to play around that Lord dance.
Yeah, behind the scenes, Eterna, you mentioned to us that you were a little bit 50-50 on the draft. Looking at it now, I saw why you thought that. Even though Gaimin Gladiators' timing came a little bit later into the game and then they were able to take control. But then I want to add to that where it felt like the 50-50 for Terra Queens were just a little bit easier to pull off, considering that their power spike comes sooner when you play around a Joy, and especially when you have a Juice in, stopping all of the rotations and the info getting that Ashley wanted to do.
And also speaking of Jushin, there were a lot of moments that were in the Crimson Beacon was used as early as possible just to somehow set up the tempo in initiating against Gaimin Gladiators. So parts of the early game, it was literally Terra Queens dictating the tempo of the game. But if you look at the damage dealt, I really like that we get to see Lunalin and Rui's damage, and even with the Sikoshi near for them three, because it just means that in terms of rotation, they know the capacity of their heroes with the help of the Hilda and other heroes as well from Terra Queens.
Yeah, and I think that Hilda Rome was such a massive pick there for Terra Queens because they showed that right away. They said, we're looking at Nicolette. So Ku says, I don't know if it was her call, but she was like, all right, Hilda first pick. Go ahead, give it to me. What else can you say about the Hilda for Terra Queens?
They knew it was a really good massive counterplay. And I think when the assassins ran rampant in the meta, even in the male MLBB scene, we saw the Hilda and the Khalid being one of the main focuses against assassins because of the pressure and the tempo breaking for the rotations of a particular jungler. So we got to see that come to play. The reason which I was quite 50-50 was also because of the lane matchups. Obviously, in the early stage of the game, we saw that the Iritel had a little bit of a better time against Panda. So the fact that Panda, despite that pressure, being able to make that turn around moment at 12th minute to get that Maniac, I think that was one of the main reasons why GG were able to come back. So it's not necessarily easy for us to take a look at the drafts per se, because in terms of execution, things went a little bit differently than I expected.
Yeah, and two players who executed their role to near perfection in that game number one are our two mid laners.
Wow.
Lunalyn, very vocal, very active if you were watching the player cams closely, and her juicing was a menace. But Sayori as well on this Valentina as a sometimes juicing cosplay was one of the reasons as to why Gaimin Gladiators were able to turn things around and even get some momentum.
Surprisingly so, because looking at the drafts, honestly, I didn't really like the Valentina. I saw what was the point later on as she was executing it in the game, but against a Jushin in the mid lane, I think she did struggle a little bit when it came down to wave clear.
Oh, yes.
So the rotations were heavily in favor of TQ, and that's how they were able to gain control. Now, the thing that I didn't consider is how good Sayori is on the Valentina during team fights. Very intelligent plays.
Yeah, speaking of intelligent plays, I think it's all about the usage of the shadows. I think it will be visible in this highlight we're in. It's okay for her not to be part of the longer team fights as long as she is able to use that Terrify skill. So a millisecond of Terrify or crowd control is a huge of a deal already for Gaimin Gladiators, and even the usage of a Crimson Beacon. Now, early game, it was a Lunalyn just using those lantern players, but at the same time, Sayori has the answer with the Terrifies. So it was just a mixture of a push and pull for both phosphors or mages, as to why we could see that some parts of the game, it is them actually initiating against each other.
Yeah, and looking at these stats, Panda with the highest damage per minute, Ku with her almost unstoppable just desire to get vision and frontline for the team. Nicolette with the highest gold per minute. And of course, I feel like that was one of the most important things and why they were able to turn things around. By the time Terror Queens were going into the base, Nicolette already just had an endless battle built up. And I believe that is one of the main sequences that we are going to be looking closely at. Chantel will help us break down a key moment in that game number one. Is that the one that we picked out?
I think it was around the 12 minutes. So when we've mentioned actually that there is the power spike already, or somehow there is a fatigue on the lineup or the hero composition of Terror Queens. So it was around 12 minutes. Let me show you that clip. Yes, it was Terror Queens, right, that won the game. But at the same time, we also have to consider that the game was actually stretched, even though Terror Queens was winning the game. So we have a clip with us. It was around 12 minutes for our game wherein we saw the potential of Gaimin Gladiators actually stretching at the game. So 12 minutes again for them. Okay, it was during the Turtle Pit. We will show that to you later on. Okay, this is the clip. So this is 12 minutes. So let's start again and then make it slow. So again, this is the power spike for the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Take note that during this moment, it was actually Lancelot clearing the minion wave. Again, that is an indication that the players of Gaimin Gladiators already know that they have enough damage against Terror Queens. Then you have the Crimson Beacon for Sayori. Okay, Crimson Beacon here for Sayori. And you have the rest of the players, specifically Lunalyn on the Terrified. So because of that, we've said about the tempos, right, for both mages. So you have the Terrified first for Sayori with slow, with a low HP Valentina. Hence, if we continue the team fight, there is already that damage, or there is enough space for Panda and the rest of the players. So here's Panda. And you have two players again, Sekoshi and even Sekoshi, and you have another player from TQ here that has a clear vision as to what will happen on the next stages of this clip. So Lunalyn is down. You have Sekoshi being taken down as well. I think this is the time we're in. Eterna mentioned that there was a maniac for a Panda, hence the stretch on a Gaimin Gladiators game, because you also have the Sky Piercer already for Panda. So
she was starting to get stacks already.
Yeah, she's starting to get those damages already. Yes, we've mentioned about the power spike for Gaimin Gladiators, but it goes to show that for early game, it is Terror Queens dictating the game. But at the same time, for Gaimin Gladiators, they were able to hold up and somehow give space against Terror Queens.
I'm actually happy we got to see that in slow motion, because I'm too old for this. I can't really catch the details when things happen that quickly. But looking back at that clip, I wanted to, one, highlight Sayori. Again, amazing play. That opening was impeccable. And if I had to nitpick that particular moment, I felt like Helene was a little bit off on targeting. So she missed Sayori in the beginning, which is fine. But then she started to pursue Ashley and the back line instead of shutting down Panda. And I think with so much leeway and so much freedom for Panda, that's how she was able to get that Maniac down. So coming into the next game, these little things I think really need to be improved by GG.
Yeah, so let's see if GG will be able to improve on that. While for Terror Queens, if they can keep up the strengths that they showed in the second half of that game, wherein they cleaned things up, they, cooled off a little bit from their overheating. Like that came from an overheat moment, the play that we just broke down, and then they were still able to get the win. So let's know more about Terror Queens, the winners of game number 1.
Who takes the longest to prepare in the morning? Who is always late for practice? Who like to eat during practice? Who have the most skin in the game? Who have the best fashion style?
I didn't know about the fashion.
Who is the best singer in the team?
Can you sing? We just came here. Show me
Who is the hardest carry?
I just get here.
Who is the noisiest in the team?
Good to know more about Terror Queens, and I have a special announcement for all of us here. Thank you so much for showing your support, not just for MLBB, but most importantly, the women of MLBB, as we have now achieved 240,000 peak concurrent viewers, and we are just in the first semifinals match for today. Thank you so much, and again, use this if you want to redeem some diamonds. These are case sensitive, so it's capital MWI Limitless. You type that into your game, redeem your codes, get your diamonds, and help us celebrate MWI here at EWC 2025. So just from the very first game alone, we're already breaking records for our second to the last day of the tournament.
The sky is limitless, and I'm really happy to see this, right? Over the course of the years, we've been seeing slow progress, I would say, support from, the fans, the community. And I'm glad to see that in the comments, a lot of people are actually highlighting these girls and their individual plays.
It's really cool, like seeing all of the comments and the posts being made. Like,
yes.
I love how our community is even more so just participating in the discussion of our women's scene in MLBB.
And we even have a dedicated social media for MLBB women in esports. So I really love the progress, and even the progress of these teams are very different from day number 1. And it goes to show that esports is really a home for any gender, but it's also a home for deadly drafts.
All right, Gaimin versus Terror Queens, game number 2. The Uranus gets taken away. Baksha in response, of course. So now we are going to be going into a smaller pool of the top contested picks. Many times throughout MWI, we've talked about Yi Sun-shin, but also many times he's just ignored in the draft.
Speaking of, but now it's
not this time around. Like he's banned.
Probably because
and
for Terror Queens, there's a possibility for them to take that hero, and we have another trivia.
So, Savage Queens, for Terror Queens, in the span of 11 games, TQ has already scored 181 total kills, the highest amongst all teams. Onyx ranks second with 129. I mean, Terror Queens have also had their fair share of long series, long games. But you could see it from their gameplay, like, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they're willing to give up some moments just so that they can get kills and solidify their lead through that.
But it's very different to the aggression like from Foot, right? When we saw
yes.
Foot play, they were aggressive, they were able to get a lot of kills. But rarely do we see them be able to convert that on anything else on the map. So that was just, pure blood aggression. But what I love about TQ is that aggression is usually utilized for something else that they want on the map. And it's in true Burmese fashion, right? I think the male counterparts exemplify a similar kind of gameplay. So we are going to be looking yet again at another game full of aggression, I do believe, from TQ. With the Jushin now taken off the bat, I think it's also important to note that both of these teams have actually opted to swap sides. So it's actually TQ now on red side. With the Arlet last ban, this opens up a lot of heroes for GG.
Yeah, and if you go back to the first draft, I don't think that for both teams, they still prioritize Kimmy. But there's a high chance still for them, not unless... Oh, wow, not unless they get the...
Whoa,
We're not
Ashley.
even starting game number 2, guys. I love it.
Oh my god, guys, look at the face!
Even the coaches are just
I have the
smiling.
exact same face as Coach Rexman right now. So I know y'all can see me on screen, but okay, I like this very first pickup by Gaimin Gladiators. I wanted them to have something like the CC. It was banned by them in the first phase, but now they rush pick it because I think up against a team like Terror Queens, you need someone that can dish out great crowd control, of course, with her curtain call, but good damage as well.
Now that they got the CC, I think for Terror Queens, they have to be mindful of that gatot.
Yes.
Because that's their combo with the CC, the curtain call, and then you go in with the AOG.
Yes.
Just to stop the other players. Not unless they want to take Hilda again, and why not take the Lancelot instead, so that there's the counter pick against GG, because Nicolette has been playing really well with that Lancelot, but it's gonna be choice still. They want a hero that could literally be just all over the place, plus the Farsa, just to make sure that they have that burst against the gold laner or Panda of a GG early game.
So now, I think the Gatot pick actually does well here, right? They need some lockdown for the Joy, and they also need a way to cancel the Feather Airstrike. So it's allowing that opportunity to kind of come for itself here for GG. And we have seen Ashley play really well on the Gatot as well.
Signature.
A lot of people have actually banned it away from her when they go against GG. So we're gonna see, not the Lancelot this time around for Nicolette. It's actually the Hayabusa. What do you guys think for the next pick? There you go, the Gatot.
The Gatot was like the best pick that they could go for at that moment. It answers both the Joy and the Farsa. And of course, the Hayabusa, considering that you're seeing an artillery static mage with the ultimate of the Farsa up, then the Hayabusa would be the perfect pick against that. So, Terror Queens, let's see if they're going to show their EXP or roam, or they want to go to the second phase with already having their gold laner. Maybe the Granger, considering that they have the Joy.
I think it's a good idea also, since they also have the Farsa. So, it's going to be Irithel quite well against, with the Farsa, just with the Feather Airstrike as the zone, and you have enough space to deal damage. And they ban out the Granger. So for GG, they have options like Moskov, even Bruno actually.
I think this is smart. I was thinking the 1-1 was still open, but the fact that they picked up the Irithel first means they're, giving up the question to GG, right? Do you want to pick up a 1-1 now that we have the Irithel? The Granger ban denies Panda's really, I would say, only pick at this point that she's been able to perform really well on. So maybe forcing Panda on a hero that she's not comfortable with, right? I mean, so far she's only picked up the Bruno and the Irithel.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have seen or shown some concerns on her Irithel performance, and considering that's also been taken away, what hero would you use against the Irithel in the lane? Do you go for something like the Harith?
Harith though. They can go for the Harith. Actually, it's nice against a Farsa. Although Harith against a Joy is not a good idea, but they can. I was just thinking if they can go Moskov, since they have this tendency, or for Terror Queens, they have this tendency to go split push on both sides. So GG can also replicate on that strategy, but Xborg, okay, has been banned. So probably GG wants another layer of a tanky post 5 in this game, not unless they want to go Kalea.
And maybe they want
Kalea's
to
been
make
banned.
sure that the CC has a good lane in the EXP, right? We've seen this matchup, I think yesterday, and it looked like the CC was having a better time against the Xborg. The stacks from the Xborg,
The overheated state.
yes, it's very difficult to utilize in that particular scenario. So now Badang comes through.
Okay, they need a little bit more crowd control, and I think what we're gonna get for the last pick for Terror Queens will give that too. They don't need a lot of damage coming out of the EXP lane. For Gaimin, if they ban out the Xborg, are they gonna go for something static? You can't. There's a Joy and a Bada on that side. Are they just gonna end up with like a Valentina yet again for Sayori or the Juicin? Oh no, they banned it out
banned it
themselves.
out.
Yeah.
Even Zedang's not available. So yeah, I think they're forcing her again to use the Valentina.
Yeah. Oh, wait, right. Kimmy, of course, still up and available for them. Whoa. They go for double marksman. They put the Kimmy in the mid lane. They go for carry. Considering that they are thinking that it's going to be another really tanky presence for Terror Queens up front. But just looking at that Joy, that is a lot of targets. And it's going to be easy to get to those targets for the jungler of Terror Queens.
Considering that there is no hero actually that would do the jungle pathing also against the Joy. So it depends on how the Kimi will actually rotate for GG, but you have the Khalid. Wow. So here's the strategy of Terror Queens. They just have this hero that will find the jungler of the other side. Same with the Hilda. Now they have Khalid.
All right, seems like we might see another similar story to game number 1, wherein Terror Queens will control the early game and Gaming Gladiators will have to turn it around from mid to late. Let's see what happens as we pass you on back over to Mirko and Athena to call game number 2 in this semifinals match.
Thank you so much, Panda, for that very insightful look onto the draft. It's going to be the game 2 for our semifinals. Yet again, it's me, Athena, and together with me is Mirko. Talking about a change of scenery and a change of hero here for Panda, Mirko. There is a sudden question mark because whenever she's not using the Granger, those games that they played all throughout the group stage and the knockout just wasn't giving. And actually, guys, you could share your experience with us with the Esports World Cup by filling out the survey, and we really do value your feedback. Just scan the QR code under the lower left. But moving forward, Mirko, thoughts on to this carry for Panda?
Honestly, not too big of a fan of the carry pick here. You're right. You know, it's different. Whenever Panda is not on the Granger, she's just not as active around the map. She's not as comfortable for sure. So kind of leaves her to be weak side, I believe. Like whenever we don't see her on Granger, I think Gaimin are going to be playing much more for XP for Arya, and that's why they've set up for a winning lane this time around. And it's interesting to see that Terror Queens have actually picked up the Khalid against the CC. This is, I think, a matchup we saw yesterday too for GG up against Navi Malaysia.
Exactly.
And yeah, CC definitely gets the better of the Khalid. So actually suits to Gaming Gladiators' strengths here, at least if they do want to play to the XP.
They want to somehow negate their weakness onto game number 1. I believe there was Eternal that mentioned that their side lanes just wasn't strong enough, right? Arya was really struggling with the Esme. So for Gaming Gladiators, the plan here is to somehow lift off the pressure here for Arya and just trust the process here with Panda's carry. So far, we are on our semifinals. We've seen just 3 heroes that she actually used. That was Irkel, Bruno, and then most of the time just Ranger. But let's see, for Terror Queens, I like the fact that we kind of just went ahead, getting on to the next here for Gaming Gladiators draft. And so far, I'm liking that they also have the Farsa finally here for the instant burst and the jump. And if ever you want the crowd control, you also have Cool for that setup play. Now first turtle is up for grabs. Arya just hiding out on the bush. Very nice hit here onto Lagrina. Ulti already exhausted there.
2 big ults already wasted there. Shadow kill over to the turtle. Interesting choice. Arya pops into Vengeance, now pinned down as well. Traction Pulse gets her out with Vengeance there. Back to the Ashley with the AOG, looking for the taunt, able to find it. And Nicolette getting the damage, but not enough to get Lang down.
This is what we're talking about, right? If you want the dive, you have Lagrina. If you want the crowd control, you have Ku. And most of the time, though, even though it's questionable, still they're doing it right. Gaming Gladiators getting the first blood and the first turtle on an unorthodox way, but still they managed to get the job done.
Yeah, strong side XP. It works for neutral objectives especially, and we can see it. Terra Queens, though, they gotta be much more clinical, much more patient with a lot of their resources, because the fact that they burned Farsa and Khalid all early to get a catch on Sayori, who's again on a Kimmy, very, very mobile, led to Gaimin Gladiators getting a free turtle.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. Like, that is too early. Like, you would want to somehow just adjust a little bit more, be more patient, and for Gaimin Gladiators, that is just what they want. Like, Terra Queens being impatient, and them just going for the counter-attack, counter-engage. Cool, being cornered out.
Great pick now with the quad channel backwards Lang, able to get the Raging Sandstorm on the panel, but quick Rui. Now Rui goes for the next fine beats, finds a kill back on Nicolette. 2 for 1 in favor of GG as Lunolin gets caught by the immobilization. No capitalization just yet here. Turret shields, Koshi's punching on it.
Okay, for Terra Queens, even if they were kind of patient, but Sakoshi just getting most of her nourishment here onto the top lane, being left alone. Hefty gold plating shield got there for Sakoshi's Irrital, but looking forward here for Gaimin Gladiators, that was a huge risk, even though Rui was able to somehow target, negate Nicolette there. But still, we cannot deny that with this Kimmy mid lane, there's so much more that Sayori can provide, right? With the continuous damage, and even the crowd control with the traction pulse. But now, almost on to the 10-second mark, and Arya, even before the turtle has spawned, has already been slain down by Terra Queens.
Yeah, she's got to be way more careful here on the CC pick. Again, CC, main counter to CC is actually CC2, just a different kind. Crowd control. You get locked down, even with the Vengeance, you won't be able to survive. You need to stay and dish out damage consistently throughout a long team fight for you to be really, really strong. So, Terra Queens have that already. It's stored. Oh, that's a bad reset from Rui. Okay. An angle of a possible contest now. Nope. Still taken. Traction pulse gets thrown away by Sayori. The Nicolette shoves in bot.
That is somewhat scary for Terra Queens, as you mentioned. A questionable kind of a reset here for Rui. But still, they managed to get the job done. And moving forward here for Gaimin Gladiators, as you mentioned, they want to somehow be strong on the side lanes, but also try to be more proactive. As you mentioned, Arya needs to be very careful on to conserving when and where she could go for the Vengeance play and even the Curtain Calls. Looking at the goal difference, not much of a difference. So, like, literally, Terra Queens just balance it out the map. There are around hundreds here in favor of them, but still, we cannot say that that is already a huge advantage. But 3 members here rotating onto the top lane. Nicolette could just easily go out of there with a quad shadow. But still, right now, the map is being too quiet. Still waiting for someone to dive in. Speaking of which, there you go. Flicker out for Langrina.
Yeah, big resource burnt out. Only for Panda's ult. They'll be back in a bit. Gold Crab up, down below. Rui sent to deal with it. Nicolette using the shadow kill up top, knowing that something fishy going on. Arya with a Vengeance. That's with the Raging Sandstorm, locking her down, and the Feathered Airstrike, last shot of it, finds its mark.
And that is something that Terra Queens just wants to punish. Because whenever you see Arya, just go, even if it's the cost of their ultimates. And it's working, right? Terra Queens still hasn't given their Gaimin Gladiators that much needed space to go and pull off another, like, go onto the front, let Panda do her job. But instead, Panda will not be able to somehow spread out here onto the map. Just constantly being hunted down by Rui, and might be a turret takedown on the bottom side. Still waiting here for a big control, big setup clash. Is this it?
Pinned down onto Arya again, taken down with a heavy crossbow. Sakoshi doing a bit too much damage for even Arya to handle. TQ. This will be another free neutral objective to them. And similarly to the second turtle, it's off of a pickoff on Arya.
That's going to be a huge advantage here for Terra Queens. Like, very fluid onto the map, and even if nothing is not happening yet in terms of overextended team fights, still favoring onto their side, right? No one is stopping Rui, no one is stopping Sikoshi, and even Luna Lane, right? You have to have an answer of that if you're gaming Gladiators. And looking at the items, it's just continually growing, right? You have to find an answer as soon as possible if you're gaming Gladiators. And even if you're not being taken down continuously if you're Nicolette, but you have to have those numbers, right? You have to get those kills. And is this the kill that she needs? Luna Lane?
Gets a shuriken down with the Quad Shadow now and backs away into the Quad Shadow. Ku's right there. Sikoshi walks up. AOG. Great peel, but he's still going to be the pin down as Ku. Will be taken out by the shuriken. Sayori taken out by Lang. But it's a Panda response to get a killing spree.
Just on time. I was talking about Nicolette has to get the numbers, has to get the kills, and right on track. They were just, sure, why not? And that is how you pave way for Panda to just like go for the speedy light wheels and basic attacks. And definitely for Terra Queens, just need to somehow rethink of their strategies on when and where Luna Lane should pop those feathered airstrike. We get the idea they want to constantly harass Arya, but look at the live cam view. It's going to be an almost off-cam kill here on the Sikoshi.
Yeah, Ashley picks up the kill, so not the best of targets to give kills to. Panda's just going to go on to continue the chase. Lang using a Raging Sandstorm defensively again, and GG are slowly but surely coming back in this game.
Right? The double marksman setup is crazy right now. They're dishing out much needed damage even on the early phasing of the game. Panda will still be able to get out. Circle of Feather Airstrike over Luna Lane. But for Terra Queens right now, I feel like they're just crumbling around. Not really much of a blueprint to follow. They're just launching around, finding the right target, but for gaming Gladiators, they're really hard to catch by. They're just waiting and praying and waiting for someone to overplay their stay or rotation here. Luna Lane with the wings by wings. She doesn't have any flicker, no way out there.
Quick assassination, Raging Sandstorm, Panda flickers out of it. And they burst down the front liner too. No Luna Lane, no Lang. Terra Queens have been dominating the turtle game, but it's GG who will claim the first lord of the game. Nicolette retrieves it as Rui is stuck in her own jungle, zoned away by Ashley.
That's the strength for GG. They know when to wait. Like, never force out the play here for Arya. Just wait for Luna Lane or even Langrina to show onto the map, and that's it, right? A very perfect target here for gaming Gladiators. And now there's a bit of a struggle right now for Terra Queens to somehow lock in on Nicolette, and even Panda still untouchable by the way with the 3-0-2. Looking good here, even though this is not usually the hero that she goes to or she uses a lot here on MWI, but idea is still there. You just have to give her the space, and Ashley and Arya is doing a great job at those adjustment here for game number 2.
Good defense from Terra Queens. They've been able to... Oh, Sayori gets caught under the turret too. The Raging Sandstorm forced to flicker out.
No!
Lang gets away, but that's enough of a distraction by Terra Queens. Nicolette used a shadow kill early too. Maybe be a turret in the mid lane, but that's about it. No holy defense procced with the First Lord.
One of the unsung here for me is Ashley, right? She has 100% KP as of now. And this is just one of those heroes that even if it goes out of meta, but if it's Ashley using it, it's just a very great performance with this. And she's definitely doing her job onto trying to negate whoever just comes to try close here for Nicolette and even Panda. Looking at the items, but already built it up. The Radiant Armor. Meanwhile, for Nicolette, Freddy has to end this battle. That's why she really is giving that much needed damage for GG.
Action pulse over the bush, opening things up. Itemization-wise, the endless battle completed for Nicolette. Snipe Piercer for Sayori. Honestly, good position to be in right now for Gaimin Gladiators. I think they've already weathered this early game storm that we expected from Terra Queens. Now, you just got to be careful of the 3 damage dealers, and mainly, I think, the Joy, who can really wreak havoc in the back line.
She can, and actually, she was doing a great job onto the early phases of the game. And for Gaming Gladiators, I feel the adjustment. Like, we don't have to constantly be on a team fight. We could just wait them out, like fire them out, smoke them out rather here for Terra Queens. And you mentioned the aggressiveness for Terra Queens has funneled down, right? It's not that high compared to game number 1, wherein there were multiple clashes in a row, multiple picks up here. And with the lead here going on to the hands of Gaming Gladiators, somehow I like the way that they're also balancing out the sides, which is what was missing for game number 1. So there were kind of a bit of a struggle when it comes to them chasing out Terra Queens, and then they have to go back and defend. Now, second Lord has respawned here for game number 2. Still a waiting game. Very patient Ashley and Arya here. Even Kuan Langrina just trying to give info whether Nicolette is there already. And Sikoshi just following suit. They need to somehow slow push their minion wave also onto the top lane. Sayori might be baiting out this Lord, or they might continue because the Joy is still too far away.
So the strength to carry. If you have a slow push up top and you bait out a lot of members over, you can blitz the Lord with the carry. Cool. Walking up, Nicholas right there is going to be the pin down over the Panda. Now with the airstrike as well, but she's able to flicker out of safety. That's a Radiant Sandstorm flicker combo. Sikoshi looking for the damage and will be able to find it. In the back there, oh, it's Nicolette with the shadow kill, doing the same thing. Backline for backline, but Sayori, with the help of Ashley, has guided away so well. And now it's just one. Sikoshi left up against 4 of GG's members. Ashley, sponsor in the bush. It stops her from recalling
Oh my
the GG.
gosh, in an
Are just gonna split
instant.
the map.
Okay, that's 4 members down. They were too tunneled onto trying to take down Panda. They forgot. They're still in Nicolette. They're still in Arya. And with that, of course, Gaming Gladiators, they use it to their advantage. That Panda, they're constantly eyeing you out. And they didn't even notice Nicolette just going around the map, targeting the back laners. And Terra Queens, on the other hand, we get the idea that you want to shut down. You have to lessen the core damage dealers here for Gaming Gladiators, but you also have to take into consideration the dive on how far you are onto your mid supports, right? Looking at the items, yeah, you already have the lock item build here for Sikoshi, but most of the time though, there's a bit of a question here whether Lunalyn still has to somehow follow through with the Feathered Airstrike or just be the starter, right? Is it the counter engage or just go with the flow and be the one who starts the round?
Let's see how they manage these waves. That capitalization off of the teamfight was phenomenal, by the way. They instantly split up, got tier 2 in the mid lane, got the turret super low, 1 charge and it's down. Baser down up top, Feather Airstrike used defensively over to Nicolette there to zone him away. Nicolette watch out on the shadow kill. Sikoshi isolates herself and has to use the Wit of Nature to escape as Arya stands her ground up top. It's the curtain call down onto Ku. AOG won't land. Attraction pulse will though. And that's going to be the taunt now, forcing him in the crown over from Rui. Gunned down by Sayori. Slowly but surely as Nicolette finds the Rose Gold Meteor. Sikoshi doing a good job at peeling away. Halang goes in Radiant Sandstorm, but will be melted down, forcing to flicker out. Now pin down from Ku. Rui gets the kill back. Sikoshi! Laser down by Panda and Sayori. 3 base turrets down. GG are looking for the end. Cannon in the mid lane already. Nicolette jumps into the quad shadow. Now he's going to Rui in the back of Sayori's able to flicker on the shadow kill. Deals enough damage. Lunalyn very low. Forced back onto the fountain. Rui dashing forward. Panda goes in. Targets the base. And we've got an equalizer in a best of 5. 1-1.
We could just see them somewhat celebrating Ashley there with the taunts as well. All won for our first semifinals of the day. Gaming Gladiators just doing all that they can. Huge adjustments, but they managed to do it quickly. Right on track for game number 2. Let's up to the panel to break down game number 2.
I asked for taunts after every game. We got it. I asked for damn good MLBB and we got damn good MLBB. Gaming Gladiators clapping back, tying up the series. And I feel like Terra Queens over-respected the signature pick of the Gata Kacha on Ashley because this time around, with Sayori and Ashley just free to get info, to press on forward, TQ could do nothing.
Yeah, I would agree that they were just reacting whenever there is a play from Gaming Gladiators. And gotta say, it is a nice formation for GG. You have Sayori sometimes up front, and you have Panda on the back, just dealing damage. And at the same time, Nicolette has already mastered on using that that moment wherein you have 4 players together and then she is at the side lane just farming. So there was a lead, or there was a gap actually in terms of the levels. I think she went to level 15 a minute earlier than the Joy. So it just means that in terms of the resources available, it was just a GG having control in the jungle.
And I think that comes full circle to the point that Renmar was also making earlier on, right? The fact that there was the Gatot for Ashley. You would expect a little bit more space for the Joy because of the Farsa in the mid lane. But it's not as simple for Lunalyn because she knows she needs to be very careful when she utilizes her resources in case it does get cancelled or the taunt does come through from Ashley. So that's why we saw the lead coming in from Nicolette, and then that change in tempo towards that mid game, considering that Nicolette was able to get to the power spike and the damage started to really pierce through TQ, and they couldn't play too aggressive either. So it was very a catch-22 situation for the Burmese Queens here.
Yeah, 100%. However, there's also going to be a moment where if you're Terror Queens, it seems like at one point they already just accepted, all right, we're going to be waiting for the mid to the late game. One of the reasons why heading into this game, I was thinking that maybe it could be a repeat of game number 1 is that's your window with this kind of lineup up against the lineup of Gaimin Gladiators brought to the table, wherein you're gonna have to be you have to set your foot down and say, this might be risky, but we have to take the risk. Because if they take that risk of being a little bit more aggressive in the early game, that means you get the farm of the Joy faster. That means you get the farm of the Iruthel faster. But they didn't take that risk.
I agree. Because as soon as we get into the late game, considering GG brought in the carry plus the Kimmy,
yes,
it's not as simple nor straightforward because I think this was a really good touch, right? We saw the carry being picked up in the later stages of the drafts, and I was thinking to myself, we've never seen Panda on this carry. I'm a little worried about it, right? She's always the strong side gold laner, but then it turns out it was balanced out by having the Kimmy for Sayori in the mid lane to make sure that they can still catch up to the mid game.
Yeah, this goal difference actually tells a lot about what you've said. Imagine it was actually GG winning the game, but you have higher gold to her counterpart, Sikoshi. So it just means that for GG here, they just pushed on other lanes and focused on not having that pressure on Panda, and Nicolette stepped up in the moments of the game wherein they're just diving in the middle, forcing the mid lane to somehow deteriorate.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this a lot in our respective national leagues, wherein one of the best things that Gatot Kacha brings to the table as a roamer, besides his ability kit, is the fact that you can give him the Revitalize, which does put a lot of hesitation for opposing teams to actually consider early game trades because they're thinking, but they have a Revitalize, is it really going to be worth it? And I feel like what we saw in that game was that line of thinking just held on too much by Terror Queen. So let's look at our head-to-head, wherein in game number 1, it took a little bit of time for Nicolette to really get the ball rolling, but this time around on the Hayabusa, considering it counters or answers the first 2 picks of Terror Queens right away, yeah, she was significantly more free to do Nicolette things.
Yeah, and if we look at the other objective for Turtle and Lord, it was actually Nicolette that is higher as compared to the Terror Queens. So I kind of feel like for Nicolette here, she just knew when and where to engage. So let's say, for example, this Turtle objective, she knows that, okay, I don't have to be a part of the next series of events. I'll just proceed on the other layers, and then if there is a potential kill for the team, then I go in. More so for Rui, she always makes time to find Nicolette in the middle of the team fight, but it's all about the burst and the idea of having a Hayabusa at the back. Hence, Lunalyn didn't really had a good time for that game number 2.
It really does reflect her mastery over these assassins, and it also reflects her experience, I think, because the moment that we saw that big turnaround was, I think, at 9 minutes, I believe, and then she started to really proc that damage in. One of the main factors was because of Nicolette in this game. So coming into game number 3, I'm wondering whether or not they would consider denying the assassins away. I know that there are a lot of assassins that are suitable at this moment, but at this point in time, I think she deserves some respect.
Yeah. You know what? We rarely see that a lot in this level of tournaments, especially when we are in the latter portions of it, wherein it's like a full committal ban that is surprising. Like, I think one of the scenarios that you might be considering is what if Terra Queens instantly bans out Nicola's favorites, Fredrin, Lancelot, Hayabusa, all gone. What then happens next for Gaimin Gladiators, right? So, you know what? I'm gonna ride on that idea with you. Hopefully, we get to see something along those lines. But now, as we head into game number 3, we've had 2 games now where the first pick is so unexpected. Hilda in game number 1, CC in game number 2. I feel like we fall back to the idea of you gotta have that one hero that does so well with an easy crowd control that can contribute with easy damage.
And whenever they pick that unorthodox hero, that's the story of the whole game. When it was Hilda the other game, it was just literally zoning out or finding the jungle of the other team, potentially killing some of the players that has low HP. Same goes with the CZ. Now, if that's the case, then for the rest of the heroes, it is advisable that they could get some more on the flex side, because so far they're really honest in terms of their draft. So there's not really much of the X factor, I think, for both, but all the drafts are good. It just so happened that they counter each other out so much that sometimes in terms of execution, they kind of deteriorate mid to late game.
Makes sense. The CC first pick for me personally was one of the main reasons that GG was able to come back. Because if they didn't have that CC strong lane against the Khalid, I think it would be a very different game from the early game. I think Mirko touched on it as well when he was doing his cast, considering that the carry was already a losing lane. They needed a lane to work with, and that's how GG was able to gain control over the neutral objectives in the early stages. So I agree with your notion that we are going to be seeing, I think, more peculiar picks in the first phase, and it all boils down to counterplay, right?
Yeah.
Hilda was a counter. CC was also the stone that they needed to utilize to set things up.
Yeah, so now I feel like with everything that we've seen so far in this series, there's going to be 3 key positions that we have to look at in terms of the drafting, their priorities, and what heroes they end up with. Roam, mid, and EXP. Because it seems like a lot of our major discussions revolve around the heroes in those spots.
Yeah, that's true. And I really like, by the way, the Kim against Farsa. So I think if the other team is to get the Farsa, it's not advisable for them if they open up the Kimi, because if I remember it correctly, it was the Setyan that they banned. So when drafting, it is really nice for them to consider who is better in the mid lane, better in the EXP lane, just like what Renmar said. But at the same time, if they are to get the hero that is expected to win, then they have to make sure that all factors are going to be covered, including range, including the longevity in terms of team fight, in terms of the skills that they can use every second of every skirmish.
I agree. I think mid prio is going to be very important. I think they might have overlooked the Kimi.
Yeah.
So to shift things a little bit, I think in game number 2, TQ heavily focused on denying Panda's heroes, right? The Irithel pickup, the Granger ban, forcing the carry, and it turns out it didn't work.
You can't focus on one thing too much, because at the same time you're going to be giving up something as well.
Yeah.
So that might be one of the reasons why Terra Queens, by the end of that draft, actually just ended up with a lineup that they're very uncomfortable to deal with. I'm going to toss up a hot pick question for both of you.
Oh.
There's one pick in MWI that has so far been successful for some teams and have shown to provide surprise, considering that a lot of teams in MWI rely on slow front-to-back team fights. Which one of these 2 teams is gonna bring out my Panda? Where's the Kai?
I think it's gonna be GG. I think GG, because they have a strong frontliner most of the time, but at the same time, they always add another layer of crowd control.
I agree.
They
And
also use a lot.
Yeah, the reason behind this is because usually when we see the Akai, it's usually paired in with the triple marksman strategy. So, or double marksman strategy with the Kimmy. And so far, we haven't seen Lunalin pick up the Kimmy, but GG has. So, we might be seeing that potential.
And it isn't just me just being an absolute Akai stan. Really, the teams that have picked up Akai in MWI have ended up with a pick that is so surprising that it ruined the team fighting abilities of the opposing team. Again, because of what Heavy Spin brings to the table with so many displacements that you have to deal with and so many blocks and dashes that it stops.
But are we talking about Akai jungle? Because I think that would be a waste for Nicolette.
I'm talking about Akai anything.
Okay.
Akai Roam, Akai EXP,
Any lane.
Akai Gold, Akai Coach. No, I'm kidding. Mostly on the EXP lane, I think, is where we might see it pop up. If ever it does pop up.
Not unless they have another strategy in mind, right? So, yep, we see Uranus and even YSS being banned by GG, the usual. I think they are to open the backsha. I think they're willing to give up the backsha because they changed the sequence.
Yes, but also TQ are shutting down Ashley.
Yep.
Right? Arlet ban, Kalea ban, Gatot ban, forcing her on either the Minotaur or maybe the Hylos, who we have seen work, but it's not as easy to execute.
Yeah. We might end up in a scenario here where Terror Queens, if they don't end up with a traditional gold lane marksman now, they might end up with a Harith, meaning we're going to see the Harith-Minotaur relationship again, something that Gaming Gladiators were able to excel with, but knowing Terror Queens, they might not go for that.
I'm not sure if GG now will prioritize Kimmy and Baksha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a given that Terror Queens is literally just giving them those heroes, and there's a high chance that you get the Balearic on Terror Queen's side. So I think it's gonna be Badang and Hayabusa still prioritizing that hero for Nicolette, sticking on the Assassin. Now for Terror Queens, they can now get the Granger just for the sake of counter pick and somehow limit a hero pool for Panda.
So dangerous though. I mean, yeah, it's a good setup for, you know, the gold lane, but against the Hayabusa and the Badang, it might be a little risky. Maybe they go for something a little bit safer.
Yep. I wonder what that pick might just be. With Joy already shown up, they do have the Badang. They still have room if they want to go for either the Irithel or the Granger for the marksman, for the gold lane of Gaimin Gladiators. Considering that Badang in itself is already enough of a stopper against the Joy. Ideally, you'd have to have one more, whether through the mid or whether through the EXP pick. I'm still thinking this Badang is most likely going roam.
So they still have other options. So I think, by the way, for Terror Queens, this is a nice pick. Both Joy and CC, since Forza is still open, it literally shouts no Forza for you. I think it's not a good idea for you to pick. That's why they will prioritize on Zetian.
Yeah.
So for GG, they can still pull off that Zetian very hard tank, or probably sustain that has crowd control on the side lane if ever they go for Badang as their roam in this hero composition.
Because we're looking at two heroes coming in from TQ that are so weak to CC, right? That's why we see the Zetian and the Badang come through. It should be okay. One of the crazy things that I was thinking in my head for TQ is Chikoshi comfortable on a Ruby in the gold lane?
Ooh.
I mean, with the CC pickup, the Joy pickup, that's already some damage. I think coming into the second phase, we would expect TQ to look for yet another winning lane for the CC. But the Hylos gets eliminated here.
If they go Ruby gold lane, that means Terror Queens will have to play Kimmy in the mid lane. Because they're still going to need sources of basic attack damage, and that's sort of going to be like your actual carry in the game. You have two main carries, but both of them are going to be dealing magic. I will keep that possibility up in the air. That might be something that we'll see, considering that they have strong sources of physical through the Hilda Ruby CC that way. Great crowd control. Might just be crazy enough to work, and that's an option for Terror Queen. So
Oh,
Gaimin
nice
shut down
ban.
that possibility. They ban out the
Yeah.
Gimme instead.
Yeah, a very nice ban for GG because you've already discussed that possibility. So I think because of that, for Terry Queens, they will just shift again into those usual burst damages. I won't be surprised if we might see a Farsa Faramis for this match, just for them to just dive in against the GG and somehow negate that shadow kill from the Hayabusa. But for another ban, I won't be surprised if they get or they ban out another Ashley hero because they're literally focusing on that.
Could be Minotaur.
Yeah.
But they're heavily considering this because remember the gold lane is wide open. There you go.
Granger.
So they go for the Granger ban. Instead, the Zask ban is intelligent by GG because they know that TQ has utilized it as a counter towards an assassin in the jungle in the game that they played against Onyx. So now GG have the pick of the cherry. With Granger taken out,
Seems like we're trapped with either Irithel,
Moskov.
Moskov, yes. We haven't seen a lot of Moskovs here in MWI though, yeah.
Yeah, I think the number just decreased starting day 2. What if there is a chance for 1-1 Carmilla?
They can't go 1-1 here
Oh, how come?
because there's still an option to pick up the Irithel on the other side. Because then they'll lose 2 winning.
Oh,
they'll
right,
lose
right,
2
right.
side lanes.
Okay.
I've been waiting for
Wait,
so
who were you saying
long.
1-1-4?
Terry Queens.
Oh, okay.
One more than Carmilla just because they're really more on the dive. I think
Alright.
possible for them. But Kari is a nice pick here for Gaming Gladiators. Okay.
Now
Yeah,
there's
1-1.
possible for 1-1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Since they...
Oh, that's good. If they go 1-1 Carmilla, it solves their quite spread out damage distribution. It empowers Joy. Whoa, they go Selena.
And
Mid
Irithel.
lane and the Irithel.
A lot of vision actually. And map control early game for Terror Queens. Might be a little hard for the Setyan to actually control the mid. For Gaming Gladiators,
See, I think the
Khalid?
Badang's going Rome already.
I'm not sure if they might want to go Khalid on this game. Minotaur?
They need a winning lane.
But it's hard to have Minotaur with Selena.
I think that's what they're talking about right now. They need an EXP laner with a little bit more damage.
Welcome to the land
They don't
of
need a lot of the
dawn.
crowd control. Oh my goodness, no
Wow,
way.
there it is.
We answered GG earlier also for who has the potential to use the Akai.
I told y'all, the Panda, just put him anywhere. There's a lot of dashes. They want to go close range. The Akai would be good. Oh wait, I forgot. I have to do my job
Yes,
here.
yes,
All right,
yes.
so game number 3 now. Terror Queens between Gaimin Gladiators. Winner of this game will be at match point. Mirko Athena. Do you guys like the Akai? I love it.
And now, we do like the Akai being picked off here, but we do value your feedback, guys, who's watching right now. You can just scan the QR code, show us your feedback on the survey. But heading over as the Land of Dawn heats up, as both teams are locked up at the 1-1. Some adjustments onto the draft still. It's me, Athena, together me is Mirko. It's a battle for game third game here for semifinals.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A battle for match point. It's 1-1 right now in a best of 5. And yeah, we gotta answer Renmar's question. Akai pick. Do I like it? I mean, I like it because they needed Peel. They needed another beefy boy up front to tank up the damage. Because Terror Queen, their composition is full on chaos.
They
dude.
do,
It fits their
right?
name, Terror Queens. They're striking terror to the hearts of Gaming Gladiators right now. Because the front to back that you would want with a carry and a Zetian is completely ruined by what Terror Queens have drafted. They needed this Akai.
You just need to throw Panda here. And for Gaming Gladiators also, as Eterna mentioned, you just need to have a winning lane also. And the way to win a lane is also disrupt what Terror Queens have forced upon onto the draft. Looking forward here onto the matchup later on. Looking at the emblem bids as well here for both our gold laners, more on the quantum charge here. And aside from that, the Selena being picked up here for Luna Lee. Right? Like, right? They want to go for the early. They want to go for the snowball. But Gaming Gladiators, let's see if they would let Terra Queens tear the hell out of them.
A lot of bargain hunters here for the carry for Sayori as well. So they're looking to go for also snowballing. I mean, if they are able to contest neutral objective 1 with Akai level 4, should be good for them. Again, remember, even though the Akai is not jungle, this should still play out the same way. Akai should still be able to zone Joy away from the neutral objective to give Nicolette a free entry point to just roll for the red tree. Ashley.
Yeah. For game 1, actually, Terra Queens have shown such ruthless aggression. Looking forward on how will they maintain their ice-cold composure under pressure, knowing that they could have won game number 2, but that isn't just the scenario here. But Ku being attacked here by Zori and Arya, very nice attack onto what Terra Queens is trying to do. First turtle up for grabs here. You have the vision, you have the slows here for Gaming Gladiators, and Nicolette could just focus on trying to burst down the turtle as fast as possible.
So far, so good. Ashley level 4 as well, so big advantage.
Yeah.
Rui in the bush now. That's going to be the global ult coming down as well. Nicolette on the red tree will be able to win it as the fist crack lands to CC Rui. Heavy spin, locking her down. Panda with a solo kill up top. Nicolette falling, but so does Rui. As now Ashley tries to go for the pin, gets it, but Ku is just too fast. Arya shredded down, flickers back to safety, and gets away as Ashley gets a punch knockout, getting the knockout on Ku.
The Panda gets away here. Gaming Gladiators, a very good start here. And Lone Unlimited dash. Just transforming, just try and get away. Panda on the other hand, that is somewhat of a huge space. An advantage of Gaming Gladiators plus a very good fast-paced rotation if they want to try and take away the early game from Terra Queens.
Would love to see what happened up top, Athena. That solo kill came out of nowhere. We were tunnel vision on the turtle, and then all of a sudden, Panda, not Akai, the goal lane Panda, Ashley with the fist crack and a pin down. Now Panda straight up walking and melting Rui's HP bar. That truly was a magic trick as Panda continues to push on top.
You're right about that. We were too focused, and that's why Renmer mentioned if you're too tunnel vision here, you might miss some of the action, right? You have to think of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture here right now for Gaming Gladiators is to try and win the side lanes. Ku being cornered out. Arrow shown.
Great abyssal arrow landing.
Oh.
Gives Panda now, or gives Sakoshi now some more room. Great peel from Ashley again.
Oh, better Long Rena on the other hand, just trying to somewhat irritate members here of GG. But I would like to highlight that that was a very fast action here for Terra Queens and a very nice lockdown on Panda. And as you mentioned earlier, you just need to somewhat maintain your composure. Just try and go for the unshakable combination. Kill onto Ashley. Arrow will miss out. But still for Terra Queens, they have this huge advantage of just trying to go out of nowhere with the arrows and just try and capitalize on what they can do to stop Arya and even Nicolette to try and contest this turtle.
This arrow gets thrown out, Sayori getting space back as Rui's right there. Nicolette able to get the quad shadow in, but Lunalin respects it with an instant flicker out. Now it's a battle again for the neutral objective, but Nicolette is not concerned. Stays in the mid lane, Rui gets it for free. Curtain call comes down for Hlang. And Nicolette tries to go for a trade up top. Sakoshi with a heavy crossbow. Back again, Nicolette taking a bunch of damage from Ku.
This is much more proactive round for our ladies. For the game number 2, right? We're seeing some more of the attempt here to go for the ganks, to try and somehow get a pick off. Maybe it's also because of the Selena, which is kind of what you want, and the Hayabusa onto the early phase of the game. Get those numbers in. Who won't be a number on the kills here for Nicolette, while Sakoshi will be able to go for a solo turret takedown onto the top lane. Terra Queens is just dividing, conquering what they can, managing their time as well.
Yeah, I don't know why GG did go for the turtle, knowing they have an Akai. I thought they would want to contest neutral objectives and maybe just sacrifice the Akai. It's definitely a safer approach, but at this point, they sent Panda down below, but the other Panda, Akai, hasn't been sent up top.
Yeah.
Acting as a second roamer, and that has given so much more space for Sakoshi to capitalize. Abyssal arrow landing. No Purify. Panda able to flicker out, but the curtain call lands, and my lord! That's hit down into the damage. Explosive from Panda.
That's the plan for them. Like, go out and do the unexpected, right? They expect us to go with Arya, with Panda, but Sikoshi going down there, Nicolette just getting the kill, and GG just manipulating the game. Like, what do you expect us to do? We'll do the opposite, right? And right now, they're winning most of the classes that they want. They're going for the pickups, and it's actually working to their favor.
Gaimin Gladiators are really just capitalizing on the mistakes. This seemed like, yeah, Terra Queens, they look to be on the... Oh, Ashley! Jumps in a pin down from nowhere! Yes, she dies, but she's got the value out of it. It's a kill on Rui, but look at the flank coming down from Ku on the Hilda. Panda doing a lot of damage, so melting her down. It gets caught with the Abyssal Arrow, but Sayori's right there. Panda cutting away, now the Shadow Kill from Nicolette together with Sayori. It's enough to win them the trade. 4 for 3 in the end.
A big advantage here for Gaimin Gladiators. There's going to be Lunalyn left here. So she can do much here against Sayori and Nicolette. Let's talk about that sacrifice play. That's very good play here. But like, just imagine Ashley going for the pull plus Arya's heavy spin prevents anyone from Turkey to just actually go for the counter engage. Yes, you do have the idea here for Ku trying to negate some of what Arya did to them, but still you cannot deny that you wouldn't want to keep your eyes off of Nicolette with her Hayabusa.
You can see the reaction there from Panda. Now, whoa, some action up top. Gaimin Gladiators. I thought after game 1, losing game 1, they would slump quite bad in game 2. Maybe in game 3 they won't be as dominant as they are right now.
Yeah.
Just because, again, we've only really seen Panda do extremely well on the Granger. Nicolette 1v3 goes in for the shadow kill. Oh, crazy damage on Hlang and Lunalyn, forcing to revitalize out from the Hilda.
And that's what you want, just to try and punish them as much as you can, even if it means activating your ultimate, as long as you try and delay things up for them, disrupt their process, disrupt their rotation. For Gaimin Gladiators, that's the plan here. Just distract them, just be the decoy. Ultimate activated here for Sayori. Arya with a heavy spin, Langrina!
Panda gets the kill. Amazing pick-off again. Cool. Not too sure if you want to actually flank this composition. The carry melts you down. They have enough peel. The Abyssal Arrow dodged away from. The Gladiators will continue on, hulking Sikoshi down. Now up top they go to a wave that looked to be good for Terra Queens, but for Gaimin Gladiators, it's good for them rotating up top. They're just going to go and set up for the neutral objective.
It is. Somehow it's an unshakable coordination between Arya and Ashley with this Badang. And with the proper layer, Panda would have a hard time, or will have a fun time.
I gotta give props to Arya.
Yeah.
The only big concern I had this game was how would Arya perform on the Akai, right? Just knowing her playstyle from the last 2 games. She's always been kind of like an individual player. Oh, miscoordination a bit there. Ashley with a fist crack, Panda no ult. A big window of opportunity for the Terra Queens. But so far, Arya has been playing an amazing game, just enabling the team instead of playing solo like she does on other heroes.
She does have to adjust to Ashley's gameplay as well, as you mentioned. They go hand in hand. It's a proper combination if you have the Akai, the Badang, and this game for GG. And you have to level up somehow. The adjustment is working here for Gaimin Gladiators, but we could definitely see some glimpse of what Arya is trying to do with her solo skills, or solo mechanical skills. You have this sudden urge to just try and jump with heavy spin, but you also have to think carefully because you want to go and get the best of it. Langrina down. Might be a free lord here for GG. With that pick-off, big advantage yet again here.
Absolutely phenomenal from Gaimin Gladiators. They're just playing with the fundamentals of MLBB. Push down below, make it a slow push, go up top, control it, and go for a pick-off once you see the Irithel in the bottom lane, clearing it out. GG are playing with the fundamentals, and Terra Queens are left confused. They're so used to seeing GG play that team fighting style of game number 1, and now they don't know what to do, right? They were prepared for the Lancelot, for the Granger, and now that GG are playing for Panda and Sayori, it gets confusing for Terra Queens. This is not according to their game plan. Missile Arrow lands, but there's no one to follow it up. Nicolette jumps into the bot shadow, zones them away from a possible
You're
all
right
in.
about them being confused. Like, is it a different version? Is this different ladies that we're talking about you're playing against? Like, Gaimin Gladiators, just tried and somehow huge another page onto their book to try and prevent Turkish from reading them. There's no spoiler alert, but Nicolette onto Rui one-on-one!
Shadow kill Shuriken doesn't get the kill into the bottom lane. Panda is able to get the kill on Sakoshi. Now goes straight for the base. Gaimin Gladiators at match point in semifinals. A game away, a step away from a grand final spot.
Wow. Our Queen Slayers gaining another point. They only need one more win to secure that spot. And things are quite looking up here. All those adjustments, all those thoughts and smiles here onto our camera is really, really radiating here. A very positive environment here for GG. What a nice win for game number 3.
The Terra Queens back to the drawing board.
And so far, I do hope that our panel are ready to break that game number 3.
You heard that right, and you can't deny it. Gaimin Gladiators are one game win away from making it to the grand finals of MWI, and they did so in dominating fashion. I'm not shocked. There was an Akai, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah, actually, Arya played really well. There were lots of heavy spins that was used just to push back the players whenever they're taking some of the objectives, sometimes to pin down heroes or players from Terror Queens as to why they actually had control in majority of the team fights and gave up a lot of space for Nicolette to fight. This is the perfect heavy spin against a hero that has vengeance. So there's a free hit for Panda, and it just has been continuously effective and efficient for GG.
I agree. I think the layering of skills was also what really brought the Akai heavy spin to life, because we're seeing time and time again that Ashley is able to find opportunities with the fist crack. This was one of the moments that she did not, but it was enough to kind of zone the rest of the members away because they wanted to go for the disengage. But for the majority of the team fights, when they were able to get good trades in, that was what happened. Ashley plus Arya chemistry down.
The walls getting set up by the Badang, the heavy spin coming in, and it didn't always need to be them setting up for one another. Sometimes it would be Panda deciding, all right, who's setting up for me now? Will it be the Badang? Will it be the Akai? There were a lot of options for the gold laner of Gaimin.
I agree. And there were a lot of moments where at the latter portion of the game, Ashley is just right in front of Sayori. So every time there is an arrow from Lunalin that will hit some of the players of Gaimin Gladiators, she's just ready to go for the counter initiation or somehow protect her teammate. And I gotta say, for the players of Gaimin Gladiators, they're just living up to that role that they have and just doing what they need to do. If the EXP lane is to set up the play, then they know when. Same goes with Hayabusa. There was a mirror split push for Terror Queens, but Nicolette is just rotating rapidly against TQ.
They played the map really well. They played the rotations really well. The macro was impeccable too, with the slow pushes that were happening when they went in for neutral objective takes. And I think what really stood out for me was what happened in the early game, right? Carry and Iritel in the gold lane. There's an argument to be made for both, considering that obviously Panda would need a little bit more time to get to the power spike and Chikoshi should get it faster, but there's a layer of mobility that the Iritel has, and surprisingly enough, 3 minutes in, solo kill by the carry onto the Iritel. So that already made things very difficult for TQ to get to that point where they can turn things around.
Yeah, and also one of the priority items for Arya was the blade armor, so it was a lot more hard for Sakoshi to actually deal damage, even though she is one of those top damage dealers for Terror Queens. But if you look at the damage dealt for Sayori and even Panda, it goes to show that it's very efficient against the TQ, because the damage that you can sustain over time isn't really that enough for TQ, because their hero composition is meant to just really dive against the players of TQ.
Yeah.
I mean, against GG.
GG. And that looked kind of crazy. I don't know if the stats that we showed were completely accurate, but it looks like Rui was completely
Exactly.
shut down in that game, that she didn't even scratch 10,000 damage dealt. I don't think she even scratched 8,000. It looked like it was like around 5 to 7 or maybe even 2,000
I mean,
damage dealt.
even if it was correct, it does make sense, right? Because every time she wants to go in for neutral objective fights or skirmishes, as long as the panda is there and as long as there is the badang as well, it's very difficult for her to output that damage. We saw that she was shut down a few times. But yeah, I didn't expect that little damage coming out from Rui.
When you have a Joy on the board, and then especially if you have it paired with something like a Selena, you're expecting the Joy to carry a good amount of that damage load. Equally, actually, with the Selena, you shut down one and that's it. And it seems like that's what Gaming Gladiators has leaned in on for games 2 and 3. As long as they have a strong pick that stops the team fighting tempo of Terror Queens just looks incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would agree because the lineup of Terror Queens is, again, just like what I've mentioned, is more on the dive. So I think for Terror Queens, it is something that they could change come game number 3. Game number 3 for game number 4. So yep, I think for Terror Queens now, they might want to change some of the heroes probably for Rui that could actually go and have some trades, because it is being answered now by Gaming Gladiators. And I gotta say, for Gaming Gladiators, very solid in terms of laning. One, specifically for Panda, even though she is sometimes at a discrepancy, or there is a discrepancy in terms of gold, she knows that there is a potential chance for her to lessen the gap as long as she stays on the lane, but at the same time she knows when to join the team fight. So it's just Arya and Ashley giving up enough space and vision, probably support to other lanes, as to why it's very effective for both Nicolette and even a Panda to just roam around.
Yeah. All right. So earlier there was something you touched on, especially with the relationship in the gold lane, with what Panda was able to do against Sikoshi there. So they are actually going to be our head-to-head. So you can take the floor for this one, Eterna.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit earlier on, and I was really surprised at the fact that we're seeing a lot more progress from Panda on a hero that we haven't really seen her play on just yet. So TQ came into this going like, all right, Panda, you're really good at the Granger, let's take that away from you. But it turns out when you take one head, another grows in its place.
A Hydra.
Exactly.
Mythological creature.
Exactly, and she's playing like she is. Looking at the stats, you can see she's winning in almost everything. I think Chantel put it really well. Despite the discrepancy in gold, she still played it really safe until she got to that power spike that came quite quickly. I think it was before minute 10 even when she got that trio for the carry, because of the space that was given from the rest of the members of the team. Imagine you're caught in a situation where there's so much skill shots that you need to kind of run away from. With Lunalyn, 100% win rate, by the way, on the Selena. Now not 100% win rate. She was still able to weave in and out of these team fights. Shows mastery on the carry too.
I'm gonna have to echo that statement. It seems like from day one compared to now, we've just seen the steady growth of Panda. For Gaming Gladiators, they're a type of team that, of course, the middle of the map draws so much views, so much eyes, but then it sort of ends up overlooking the side lanes. But then eventually Arya as well as Panda have just progressed to the point where it's sort of like you can't ignore them anymore. You really have to look at them as much as you look at Ashley, Nicolette, and Sayori.
Now, one moment they are on a defensive stance, and then the moment you blink, already on the offensive stances. And I kind of feel like here for Gaming Gladiators, every time that they change their pos 5 or their tank hero and even their EXP lane, the dynamics of the whole play or how they roam around the map is different. So, but for the rest of the players, Sayori, Nicolette, and even Panda, they stick to the principles of their role. So there's a change in the rotation, yes, but at the same time, it is very unpredictable for Terror Queens on how to somehow answer that aggression. And for Terror Queens, they haven't really brought up much of a surprise coming into this series. So it's just unpredictable versus predictable.
Yeah. that's 3 games now where we've seen
Yep.
Joy picked up for Terra Queens, right? Like, that's actually the surprise to me, that they've leaned in so hard on Joy for 3 games in a row. Gaming Gladiators have shown that, okay, if their rotation in the center of the map gets busted, that's where they have difficulty. Terra Queens, when their team fighting gets interrupted, that's where they have difficulty.
I agree. That's why game number 2, game number 3, the way that GG played the team fights, the way that they were able to layer the skills and ruin the formation of TQ was just on point. It was brilliant. We usually see the changes in tempo because of set team fights. So coming into this game, TQ really need to think about this because one, they've already tried shutting down the gold lane, didn't work. They already tried to hint at taking Ashley down in the draft as well, also didn't work. So do they want to lean in on their power picks a little bit more? I agree that you mentioned the Joy pick 3 times in a row. And considering Rui, one of her signature heroes coming into this tournament has been the Lancelot. So do they now want to fight fire with fire?
That's a really good question. Let's see how Terra Queens will answer, because they will need to answer, and it needs to begin in the draft. If the Queens of Myanmar wants to force game number 5, they need to start it off with the picks. 2 games in a row now, they've had to deal with heroes that mess up their team fighting flow, because Terra Queens have focused a little bit too much in disrupting the overall macro that they've overlooked their strengths in the micro.
Yeah, even actually, the Ling hasn't been considered yet by Terra Queens, but they're one of those teams that actually uses it and they play with it very well. So, in terms of the drafting, I think that is the most crucial part because that's the strength also of Gaming Gladiators. They have this tendency to force the other team to somehow overthink the draft. Imagine from yesterday, they forced Navi PH to use the Guinevere, even had the Angela. So for Terra Queens, it's just them battling fire with fire. I guess because Hayabusa hasn't picked that much from the team. Even we've mentioned about the Ling, even the Lancelot. And they're sticking too much, I think, with the idea of having the Hilda as their priority pick. This is the second time that they actually did this on the series, and for Terra Queens, they just need to cover all lanes and somehow have this hero that has better displacement around, or has better mobility around the map, so that they get a whole grasp of whatever is happening.
All right, here comes the draft. Uranus and the Eastern Shin getting taken away, going for the standard top meta pick bans for Gaming Gladiators, while Terra Queens already looking to go on the offensive in terms of the banning, or taking away 2 of the best heroes in Ashley's pocket. But then they showed it's not just about the Minotaur, Badang also is something that you have to really consider. I think though, we might not see any more finalists for the series.
Yeah, I would agree. Because with the Hylas, I think more on the single, it's just more on the single targeting as much as possible. You want to prioritize on the AOE, like explosive, since they are heavy on team fights. But it's going to be Badang now for Gaming Gladiators. It's just literally shouting, okay, we have the Badang. You didn't have a good time earlier when you picked the Joy. So I think for Terra Queens, it's about time to take the Hayabusa if they want to, or take the Granger, Hayabusa, and Zetian.
Okay, much better pick this time around.
So they eliminate it, right? They take it away from Nicolette, going to go for a little bit more aggression, a little change coming through. And surprisingly enough, not a lot of Baxias, It was banned out in game number 1, but coming to game number 4, we haven't seen it picked up just yet. So are we expecting an assassin battle in the jungle, and an assassin battle we will get? Lancelot now picked in for Nicolette here, alongside the power pick that we can consider now for, Panda.
It feels like this is Gaming Gladiators telling the world, like, okay, no need to doubt the carry of Panda anymore. We're gonna confidently pick it in the very first phase of the draft alongside our other carry in the game. So that's 2 carries already shown. Terra Queens will have to consider that they might have to go up against either... No, wait. With a high boost on the other side, they have to consider that they're gonna be going up against either 2 picks. A Lilia in the mid or a Kimi yet again.
Kimi's actually nice, but this is a fast or early Lapo pick for Terror Queens. Although it's not on the flex, it's gonna be EXP lane. I was thinking about the Jawhead for Terror Queens actually, just for the sake of having the Hayabusa carry potential or probably winning the lane with a decent marksman. Could be a Moskov. Yeah, and Granger actually. Jawhead Granger would be nice for Terror Queens, but for Gaming Gladiators, Baksha ban is pretty fair.
Yeah, they can still go Baksha Roam. There's enough room in that there. However, I think wouldn't the Baksha Roam be sort of susceptible to the Badang Roam, Eterna?
It is very difficult for him to get the picks, right? Because even if they go for an engage, there's always a counter engage potential with the Badang, and that's what GG are really good at, right? Counter engage. Ashley, Arya, the layering of skills that we saw from the previous game makes it so. GG now in the second phase still decide to go for the Granger ban. Do they want to go? What do they want to go for the gold lane here? Is it a Moskov? That is a potential for TQ. I mean, it is the safest against a Lancelot.
Again, still the rarest pick and one of the rare gold lane picks for MWI, but I'm going to have to echo your sentiments here. Hopefully the Moskov is in consideration for Terror Queens, because I don't think a fourth game in a row on an Irithel for Sikoshi is going to do them any favors, because at this point, Gaming Gladiators have shown, okay, we're ready to deal with it. Even if they decide to go for something like a I don't know, Rome, Angela, so just so that they can empower the Irithel, that's already way too greedy. You need more control at the center of the map. CC gets taken away, so this might be a signal that they're going to be going for a slower front line in the Rome, despite the Jawhead possibility that you brought up.
Yep, I think for Terror Queens now, they're just focusing to have, more on slowly but surely type of setup. But for Gaming Gladiators, Bruno could be an option for the ban. Probably, it's gonna be Moskov. So
yeah, it is a Moskov.
More on the safer route for Gaming Gladiators, since a Moskov could be a headache for them, just in case it goes for that split push, and you don't want a hero that will surprise you with a Spear of Destruction.
Yeah. I think they have to go Harith here, right? They need more magic damage. That's already way too much physical on the side of Terror Queens. Or maybe they might even consider going Kimi Gold Lane.
Kimi Gold Lane, I would agree with that. Kimi Gold Lane, because of the range also against a carry, and if the Badang will rotate on that area, and then it's gonna be hard for them. Now that you have the Carmilla, they can go 1-1 actually. Carmilla 1-1 or any Gold Lane would be nice to be paired with a Carmilla.
No, I agree. I think the 1-1 is a potential here. Technically, she should be able to dodge a lot of these abilities as well. Level 1, level 2, the 1-1 is also very kind of gross in the lane, right? Being a lane bully. But let's take a look before that potential at GG. They're now looking for a mid laner and potentially an EXP laner, right? The Badang should be for Ashley. Do they want to fight fire with fire? I think Farsa is a little bit too difficult. They go,
Paramis and Akai
into the Carmilla?
Yeah, they really want to go all in here. Then again, if you drop down the Curse of Blood by the Carmilla, the Akai, as you called it, the 1-1 combo, the Akai can push him out, and then they want the Faramis for safety because they're going to be very aggressive in this game. That's a signal for GG.
Yeah, I think Coach Rexvin and Coach Mindad actually knew that 1-1 is going to be the last pick for Terror Queens, hence the Faramis.
All right, will this be the series-winning grand final securing draft for Gaimin Gladiators, or will the Queens of Myanmar force us into game number 5? Athena and Mirko, let's go!
And here we go. It's a do or die time in MWI 2025 semifinals. The score stands at 2-1 in favor of Gaming Gladiators. And we do value your feedback, guys. Share your experience with the Esports World Cup by filling out this survey and scan the QR code onto the lower left of your screens. And now, we are now in the brink of what could be the final game for this epic best-of-5 series, Mirko.
Yeah, and I gotta again emphasize what Chantel said. Yes, you don't want to pick Faramis against Carmilla, but I think what Coach Midnight and Coach Rexvin knew the 1-1 was coming. The Faramis is a great way to nullify the 1-1. So We'll see how they execute it, because at this point, it really comes down to how you use the Netherrealm. If you use it early, that Carmilla is just going to have an amazing time. But if you use it at the right time, up against the 1-1, then GG could very well be our first grand final. Is almost a solo kill up top. Sakoshi with the Inspire. Sayori rotating down below with a Stampede, who gets to revitalize down and actually win out in that trade.
We could definitely feel the anger coming out from Sakoshi with this 1-1. She already played the Irrital 3 times in a row, and for the final game, this is what our panel was talking about. They need a change of scenery. They need a change of facing here for Terror Queens. Rui onto Nicolette.
First blood, well played to Rui. Utilizing the quad shadow efficiently, pops it in, doesn't use it to the end here. Almost a kill. Sayori walks back outside of it. Ashley gets a punch, knocks Ku out.
Okay, there's going to be somewhat of an equalizer here for GG. But let's go back to the topic here. But before we go back, going on to Panda, Rui is just on fire with this Hayabusa.
2 kills at the start of the game for the Hayabusa is not what you want to see for Gaimin Gladiators. But for Terror Queens, this is amazing. Probably the best start they can hope for here.
It is, actually. It's a great head start, especially here for Sakoshi, eyeing out onto building up earlier items here, basing on the MDM builds. But they don't want us to analyze the game. They want to go for continuous attempts here onto the mid lane. And we do understand Arya. Flicker forced out.
Different matchup entirely this time around in the XP lane. Arya can't just go and CC lock Lang with the Lapu Lapu. You've got a lot of tools, man. Anti-CC built in. Ashley's thrown down below. Yes. Arya knows there's no bravest fighter, so they're still going to try to contest for the neutral objective 1.
Yeah, for Terror Queens, even if they have the 1-1, as you mentioned, it's all about the timing here. The layer for GG to totally somehow disrupt the process here. But Ashley being targeted by Cool. There's going to be the Fury Phoenix activated. Turtle save all for grabs. Rui might reset that.
That was a way too early Curse of Blood. Arya now looks for the heavy spin. Gets Lang. But that's about it. Now use the second part of the Bravest Fighter. Actually looked for it. Now in rotation earlier.
Okay, Sayori.
Oh, shout out to with the flicker. Sayori sets up for the blast of Gaimin Gladiators. Now,
gosh,
that's a free turtle to GG.
It's just like a slingshot. They pulled over 2 members down in an instant plus the turtle. Big opportunity here for Gaimin Gladiators. With that said, they easily eliminated the gap earlier established by Terror Queens even onto the top lane. Although Sakoshi being cornered out, can she do it? Nielsen Flower activated Breast Wolf Tongue!
There you go, that's another realm to beat out the 1-1. You see it here in the game. For GG, yeah, 700 gold lead, despite giving away a big chunk of the turret shield over to Sakoshi. I think it's fine, it's a good trade, and so far Panda has been winning out of the gold lead. Not through laning, but through being more active around the map in all, 3 games we've seen so far.
It's all about how you somehow get what you need in other factors, right? You don't have to be solely focused on the gold lane. You could just try and join them. And look at that cute reaction here for Sayori. I would be like that too if I managed to try and pull 2 members here. Very crucial play right there. A carry literally here for Gaimin Gladiators mid laner. But going back to topic here, as you mentioned, Panda wasn't winning onto the early, onto 1v1, right? Onto Sakoshi. But it was very crucial of her to be present. Like to be at the top of them playing out their strengths, which is to properly layer their certain crowd controls or slow effects here. And the timing where Cool wasn't there yet. Like Crimson Blood was a bit too early on. So Terror Queens on the other hand needs to just relax, chill down, just try and wait for the perfect moment, but Ashley just keeps on interrupting her also. So Cool is having a really hard time right now.
Oh, Nicolette actually goes in for the Phantom Intuition. I think she's trying to bait out the passive from Luna Lin there. Could have been massive had she gotten it.
Yeah.
Turtle 2 spawning in the game. 5th minute in, Rui, great position to try to look for an assassination or possibly baiting out the Netherrealm. Sayori stunned up, that's a quad shadow landing. Sayori, just focus out of safety. Arya in the back zoning them away. Sayori has kept the Netherrealm up.
And that is huge here for Terror Queens, activating the ultimate here for Langrina. GG knows There are certain setups here that could not lock them down, but instead they could go and try to punish Ku or whoever is onto the front lines, getting ready for the battle.
Curse of Blood used up, but it's only on 3 members there. Oh, great, another round to save them in the back, and Nicolette finds an assassination. Sakoshi in the midst of it all now. Good bravest fighter, Panda 1. Quickers in forward, now looks forward, now it's gonna be Rui who wins it out, but Ashley gets a massive pin as Nicolette finds a double.
Huge kills here given onto Nicolette. Plus, that was a very nice setup play there by Ashley. And that's how you properly layer what you have. No need to improvise. Just stick to the plan. Let Arya do her job. Just show off Sakoshi, even if they have or take down 2 or 1 member because of the passive over Sayori. She could be just needed, or she could just go back onto the dashes if needed. And Nicolette just trying to annihilate each and every one onto her pathway. TQ needs to rethink of their strategy right now.
And again, Athena, it's the battle of execution. Ku
is.
has been way too early on the Curse of Bloods. 2 out of 2 times now. I think she needs to save it. She needs to save it for when the NetherRealm comes out.
Sometimes it's the element of a surprise, right? You just need to be somewhat ready for it, but at the same time, Arya heavy spin activated. On the back, Ashley!
This crack on 2, now the capitalization, but it's giving the stun out. Good NetherRealm to prevent a big damage. Buff over the line, Panda kiting away. Ashley with a peel. Nicolette in the back with a crossbow tank will land. Nicolette trying to survive, gets shut down by Ku as Halang stays alive. TQ running them down, Sayori falling as well. Rui coming in to look for one last kill, but Ashley is a bit too tanky.
And that's it for TQ. We're just mentioning that they have to keep a cool head, let Ku somehow find her rhythm, right? And they actually got the tempo right for the crown. Looking at our instant replay, that was a really nice setup. But remember, with just one pure Phoenix, it eliminates all the rest for the continuous damage here for GG.
I hope they've learned from that, TQ, because that was the prime example of what I was saying.
Yeah.
Wait for the NetherRealm, then use the Curse of Blood. That's how you beat out the NetherRealm. That's how you utilize the counter using the Curse of Blood. You can't just use it initially for the fight. You gotta give Lang, you gotta give Luna Lin more trust to just be the ones to poke, be the ones to engage the fights, and you're gonna be you're gonna have to be more reactive as a Carmilla.
You just have to give it some time, right? Like, it doesn't have to be cool. Constantly on the front, just dishing out the ultimate. As much as we want to see some of those, like, they will be the one initiating the round, but that isn't how their draft works, right? That isn't how their lineup works. They just need to trust the process over Langrina. And even if they see a Sayori or the threat of Arya here, they could just wait it out. They have that kind of advantage, right? And for most of the players here for Gaming Gladiators, they have to be in close proximity. And that's the beauty with the Pure Phoenix. With just one click, everyone in the vicinity will be like stopping on their tracks. And now the Lord being started by Nicolette. Stun here is Arya. It's going to be a jump here for Langrina.
Again, the Curse of Blood was used early. Nicolette able to survive. Ashley with a 2-man pin down. Rui looking for the shadow kill. Able to find it as Ashley gets taken out as Arya tries her best to go for the back. Sayori gets a kill onto Rui. Arya gets away. Sakoshi's looking for the chase as Sayori has to go for the shadow stampede backwards. TQ in the fight. Arya gets canceled in the bush. Lang knows she's there. And Arya is all alone in enemy line. She should be dead here. The bravest fighter to take her down. Lang on a killing spree, but Gaimin still got the Lord.
Huge trade here for Terra Queens. Even if that is the Lord, the Nicolette and friends got here. But remember, as you mentioned, just proper layering here for Ku and even Langrina is just what they need. They've got the right mix of aggressiveness plus the balance of crowd controls, right? They also managed to somehow take down Panda in the process. TQ, somehow, they already upped up their fighting chance here. But Ashley, did a great job. Sakoshi trying to run away and could actually tore down Ashley in the process.
Yeah, Panda went to the shred. It's going to be 1-for-1, Roamer for Rome. They're desperately trying to get value out of this Lord. They have gotten the charge down below.
Okay, we see some action, a little bit of action. But remember, TQ now has the proper items in their arsenals to try onto the ganks here. Like, if ever they see Nicolette, we wouldn't hesitate to try and go with a Shadow Kill or even the Shurikens here. Looking at their in-game equipment as well, they're catching up like on a lot, right? Even onto the gold-to-gold comparison here. Already built up the Berserker's Fury here for Sikoshi. That's why her Kunai's, whatever it is so it's so really strong right now. Touring up each and every members onto the front from the Gaimin Gladiators. And so far, even onto the mid lane, not so much of a difference, but we could definitely see how they play out with the Zetian pick for Lunalin.
Sikoshi has also gone for the non-crossbow tank build, which is a crit build, ladies and gentlemen. Basically a way for her to deal damage without the crossbow tank. Just going for the basic attacks constantly, utilizing the mobility. And yeah, they have damage output of the basic attacks. Knowing, again, they're up against that Netherrealm that could counter the crossbow tank hard.
She just needs to somehow try to find the damage elsewhere, right? You just need to adjust onto your itemization as well. But for GG, they also need to adjust somehow onto where to fight onto TQ. There are certain aspects here onto the map that you wouldn't want to be really close onto corners, because that is where Langrina and also Lunalin shines out the best. But it's also somehow of a good position if you want to go for a very powerful pickup here for Ashley. But talking about pickups here, 9-12 onto the kill score. TQ just totally resetted what happened onto the previous games, and now for game number 4, we're seeing some action yet again.
This crack into the damage, belting Ku down. That's a big curse of blood, but Arya has done her job, zoning everyone away. Great Netherrealm too. Sikoshi with the Inspire. Looking for the play, Halang. Hello, Flicker, but this with the stun, Panda is going to be able to cut away from this one, and she does. Shut down for Nicolette. Ashley again with the cancel. Panda staying away. Ashley going to be taken down with the Shadow Kill. Sayori brings Rui back with the Stampede. Ends up being 2 for 2. Panda very low. TQ going to go straight for the Lord.
TQ has a very nice counter-engage attacks here. Meanwhile, for Gaming Gladiators, they have this kind of advantage to start off, be the aggressor. But Nicolette!
Threat from Panda, and that's Nicolette falling too. Buys the win of nature, Sikoshi. A bit too late now. Rui, wow, they're still staying.
They are. They aren't
Rui,
scared.
Quad Shadow, landing again, so you're going to be stun locked there. It's still a kill. Panda got the fadeaway. 2-man Curse of Blood. Sayori pops into another realm in time, and Ku has to run. Revitalize coming in. The Ghost Burster's not enough. Sayori silenced the bravest fighter there. Sayori with the flicker out. Dishes out a bit more damage before she was taken down. But Panda's still here. Gets the unstoppable. Ashley comes in again to re-engage and lock them down. For Panda to get the shots down. Huang thrown and melted down by Panda.
What a play here for GG, and they're not stopping their Sikoshi. Onto Panda, goes off down.
Answer with win a crown. Sayori back again. Those stacks really helping her here. Double time respawning quick as Nicolette has to deal with the wave up top. But we know what the main goal is. It's the Lord. Winter crown built for Nicolette.
So far onto the chase down, we were kind of like, why are you coming back? It's only you and Sayori, right? But that was a plan to just try and dish out as much as they can onto the damager for Panda 1. A very perfect example of what Arya play or gives onto the table with her Panda picker, or Akai pick rather. And with that said, they have this perfect trio mid with Panda, Arya, and Ashley, right? And that is how you want to somehow give her the position. But remember, you still have Sikoshi to think about. You need to find a way to somehow negate her damage. Just put it on the side. Let's pick up the side right now. Looking at the side lanes, there's going to be our junglers clearing up the lanes.
Ashley!
But on the other hand, Ashley with a good setup!
2 stun, now with another realm as well. Sikoshi walked into the heavy spin, finds herself in the true damage of Panda 1. That's a double for her, a free Lord for Gaimin Gladiators. And Rui can only just look for a trade, a tier 2 in the mid lane, falling for Terra Queens, but GG again with a winning team fight.
Ashley is your girl. If we want a very good setup, right? And for Terra Queens, I was just saying that Sikoshi is somewhat the shining glory, right? And you need to protect her. And for GG, they need to find a way to corner her out. But literally, it happened. Span of what? 5 to 10 seconds, and then they're down. And now for GG, They actually had the chance to tore down inhibitor turrets here onto the base of TQ, being forced to defend Sayori here onto the front line. That is a very aggressive move here for GG, and now eyeing their sights onto the base of TQ. What's going to be the next move here for Terror Queen?
With the puncture, stunned up by Ku. Thorn Rose on Skoshi. Dodging over for stun. Curse of Blood landing, but it's only onto Ashley, who pops it over the crowd. The line baited in, melted down by Panda. Thorn Rose. Gaimin Gladiators knocking on the Crystal of Terror Queens.
Okay.
They have another wave. Massive Ghost Bursters landing on Luna Lin. Rui jumps in with a quad shadow on the shadow kill. Dispersed, but still enough to take 2 down.
Wow.
Ku with a stun. GG with a disengage.
Very nice call there for Rui. Taking down 2 members, but remember with the passive, Sayori will easily be resurrected, but there's going to be another clash here. Arya with a heavy spin, going down, together Rui, Panda!
Getting the damage, the true damage, bypassing the Winner Nature. Luna Lin all alone, Hlang respawning to back her up. Can they defend? Phantom execution up front with the Thorn Rose as well as a puncture lands on Hlang. Seems like GG, you're gonna have to go for the turret up top. Panda has Immortality, a stun over from Hlang, over to Arya. Immortality still up, but it will be down now. Nicolette jumps with the puncture now, but the base is gonna be wide open. Gaimin Gladiators, no minions, brought back by Hlang. It's still all the members, they're wiped out. Gaimin Gladiators rise from NA's Forgotten Ashes, etching an odyssey that leads them